Hello, everybody, and welcome to Frank's Retirement Home Season 2. We are kicking it off with a match straight off the board. We've got quite an early one in the season. You know, we normally do things on the Sundays, but this is a rescheduled league, and we're getting straight into the action. My name is Sparkta. I'm joined by Jolly Green 77, and on production, we have our very own production head, Luna B. Uh, Bit of a few changes to talk about. First of all, we want to give a big thank you to the Wolfie Pup, if you know him around. He has done some new visuals. You will see them throughout the transitional periods. You see them in the bottom left of the screen now, the Walkers stuff. And you also see in the Twitch chat the Walkers emotes. These are all kind of done by some of the great team that we have at Frank's here. So big thanks and big props to everyone as we start off this season. And to start it all off, we bring a kind of a run back from season 1. If you were here during season 1, we had Bodega Hive versus Gunshow Shoguns, and we're seeing the new and improved teams for Walkers duke it out once more. Are you excited for this, Jolly?
Yeah, like you said, this is going to be a run back of last year's finals, or last season's final set, rather. And same captains, I believe, or close to them, anyways, with Ben Dizzle and Vlad. But it doesn't look like Vlad is in this first game. Looks like it's going to be Freaky G, Rogue Warrior, Shrimp Warrior, White My Aussie, and Dope Chops.
Yeah, why Mayasi is the captain. Vlad would have been a Kane captain of anything, but unfortunately he bowed out. But Asai is the captain, the Danza main himself. And speaking of Danza, we're actually having a few of the bands we see getting picked out pretty easily on the ADC side. We see the Freya and the Chernobog. Both characters that have been very, very strong in the past meta. Obviously, this is post-update, so Chernobog and Freya have got some nerfs, but they're still being prioritized as bans for these characters. But a few notable names coming in. We do have Dope Chops, who is a returning player from Bodega Hive in the finals, the jungle, who was actually known for his Ratataska, locking it in first here.
Yeah, he just gives you that semi-global pressure. I mean, he can get from the mid lane into either side lane with a couple of jumps and get off some easy ganks that way. We see the Ganesh coming in here first for the Bodega Hive, followed by the Pele. Both really strong picks in their respective roles. What do you think about those, Spark?
Yeah, Ganesh is one of those. It's not necessarily one of the greater supports, but it's very easy to play and is very good at shutting down whatever the enemy team wants to do. And especially in a rat who is building more ability based, the massive silence AOE and Dharmic pillars are going to allow you to do a lot of harassment when they're trying to dive your backline. And the Pele has always been a very strong jungle, but has recently fallen out in meta for characters like the Ratataska. We're seeing a lot more Thanatos play. Just this global pressure is becoming more and more prevalent as time goes on, but we're also seeing a return of a lot of magical jungles as mages become super, super strong in the current design of smites. And as we see mages being picked up like Raijin, it kind of falls into that kind of meta mentality. But Pele, definitely still very strong, a lot of sustained character, and there's a lot of burst damage, and it's going to be a good way of shutting down someone like a Raijin. Depending on whether this goes into solo or mid, which it could go either way. I know Jimmy is a big fan of some of these mage solos. Hold that thought, we do have a Wukong in the solo lanes. This will be a Raijin mid and Wukong solo. Bring it back old school.
Yeah, the Wukong, I mean, he's been strong all throughout the last patch or two. He just hasn't seen a whole lot of play because, I mean, like you
Mage
said,
solos.
mage solos, exactly. And being Sun Wukong is obviously not a mage, but it's good to see some warriors start to come back into the meta, get some of those mage solos out of here, get more of your traditional team comps going.
Yeah, and I mean, we see a few of the mage solos that are like big issues being banned away. You know, the Baba Yaga, the Morgan Le Fay, two of the biggest proprietors have been taken out. But on the other side, we are seeing the return of the King Yomengander. This is a fan favorite of Jungle Jimmy. If you watched him entirely of last season, he pretty much only locked the Big Snake. So we are seeing it on his debut for this season as well. Good to see him back, and good to see how we'll play with this new team going forward.
Yeah, and Yorm, I mean, he just outclears just about everybody in solo lane, which I would assume that's where he's going to go. You don't really see Yorm anywhere else. He just has those big circles, clears really well, and that fire, it's just hard to get away and do anything when he's right behind you.
Yeah. Going off into the second round of bans, we are seeing a bit of a question mark, which is this Thor ban coming out from the side of Gunsho Shoguns, because they already have their jungle and they already have their solo. So realistically, a Thor wouldn't make a lot of sense for what the builds they want. They're still missing a mid laner, which would be a prioritization. But on the flip side, we see a Geb being banned out on the side of Bodega Hive, which is taking away one of those powerful support slots. Granted, there are a lot of different supports that could have done the job of Geb better. We're seeing a lot of Karen play, we're seeing a lot of Atlas play. Ares is still incredibly strong, but they're not being taken away. Instead, we have a Sol being banned out, as well as an Olaron. Both of those ADCs going down and out. No major ADCs for anyone this game.
I mean, unless somebody wants to go with the Kronos, but I don't think we'll see Kronos. He's okay in certain matchups, but he's really the weakest of the mage ADCs in my opinion. But we do see the Hachi coming in here being hovered and locked in. Hachi just really safe ADC, gets in there, does his damage, can get out very safely. And then a Danza and a Karen locked in on the other side for that to finish off that duo lane. What do you think of those two picks, Spark?
So Danza, it's White Mayasi's signature character. It's what we saw a lot of in the previous season, but Danza actually got a pretty hefty buff going into it yesterday. But the season of Worlds as we have reached into it. Danza now his 3 used to be just auto attack mitigation. It is now just straight up flat mitigation, but only 15% compared to the 20%. Still an absolute menace in lane though, and it's going to be difficult for a Hachi to try and duel him. So kind of impressive they kind of had the foresight to go for the Hachi man and just go, I don't want to fight this Dancer at all. You've got mounted archer to get away from the rocket that's chasing you. So pretty smart matchup in that safe, but Dancer is going to be a menace when it comes to those mid to late game team fights. And Karen, like I said before, just a very strong support coming into the meta. We're seeing a lot of play. The tidal wave does a lot of team fight disruption, and that shield is very meaty if you've seen it played correctly. And to finish off the draft for the Bodega Hive, they're picking up the Janus for the mid lane.
Yeah, Giannis, I mean, just another one of those global pressure gods, and with that global ultimate, he doesn't have to get right up on an objective to steal it. He can snipe it with his ult from wherever he's at, honestly. So that really helps, especially if your team gets behind early and the other team starts rolling objectives. Just throw your ult, and maybe you get a random secure off of it. And also helps get your team from one side of the map to the other in about a half time what it already is.
The threshold is going to prove to be very valuable for how this Bodega Hive team plays. Yom doesn't have too much going for him in terms of mobility, but with the speed boost from his underwater is basically what I call it because he's using the goose skin. And Threshold, he's going to be absolutely zooming, chasing people for those knockups and allowing some confirmed CC from either Ben or FTW Chick. So this team comp looks pretty solid on paper, but that's not to discredit what the Gunshow team looks like. They also have a very strong, very meta-compromised team right now. So going into this match, this is a best of 3. This is the first official set of the season. Who do you think has game 1 from the drafts alone?
Well, like you said, Gunshow went with a very meta-centric draft, so I'd like to lean that way, but being this is a Walker division set, really you don't worry about meta, it's really comfort. So if Bodega can play their comp right and the way they want to play the game, they have a good chance to come out and win this game, but Gunshow definitely has the stronger draft.
Yes, and one thing that I do want to talk about is if you were here during the draft stream, Bodega and Gunshow were actually 2 of the highest rated teams in terms of their draft potential. So going into this, having both of the top 2 teams from the draft alone coming in with these compositions for the draft is a very interesting play to see how they go on. Because I don't think either team have scrimmed yet, so they don't know the full potential of who they're working with. Looks like we are going to have to go into a pause real quick, though, as a few technical issues. It wouldn't be Smite without technical issues. So we will be back very shortly as we get into the game. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for waiting with us for a short delay. Slight technical issues, as you saw on the screen, but the players have all loaded in, the match has been started, and we can take a look at the builds and see where people are going. And right now, Jolly, anything that is striking you as odd?
The only real difference we're seeing is the Hachi went with the cowl start, and Danza went with the oh, what is that item called?
Desktop.
Yeah, Desktop. That's right. That's what it is. And then Solos was one with the Warrior Axe, one with Bluestone. But the Sun Wukong also has no second item. Went with the upgraded TP instead.
Yeah, and spammed those chalices. You can see 1 chalice and 5 health potions, so he's opting to go for just the aggressive sustained start, which is, you know, to be expected. I think he wants to decide whether he wants to go into that Soul Eater or whether he wants to go into that defense against this Yom, because the Warrior's Axe buff, which recently happened, is actually nothing to, you know, not to worry about, but it's going to be quite impactful when you think about it in terms of the actual damage it gives. And with Yom going into that Chronos Pendant first, or whatever tier 3 item he chooses to go into from that tree, which is more than likely going to be a Chronos Pendant, he's going to be absolutely chunking this Wukong if he doesn't get the defense. The cowl is something we're seeing built a lot more recently in terms of ADC meta builds, but both ADCs are opting to go for the Asai start instead of going for the Dev's Gauntlets. Again, kind of what the meta build is going into right now. We are seeing it being built a lot more, because with ADC builds, it's just the numbers don't lie kind of vibe. But it's kind of what you expect going into everything. We see the jungles both go into the Eye of the Jungle. One mid is opting to go for the Conduit gem, but it isn't going into the Chronos Pendant to go with it. It's going like you're going to Spear of Deso immediately. Meanwhile, the Raijin is opting for the classic Sands of Time Book of Thoth build. So all in all, kind of what we expect. But we see Jungle Jimmy absolutely demolishing Freaky's health bar there. The Wukong taking a lot of damage. So far, those health potions not doing too much for him, and Yom is looking for a good spit. Snaps him in the face, and Freaky just going to sit there, take it a little bit, try to go back to farm a little bit more. But Jimmy is going to have a lot of pressure on this lane, especially if the jungle does not make any rotations.
Yeah, and that's what Freaky's dealing with right now. Just the big snake does all that damage super early in the game, and being a guardian, he's going to get that damage off fairly easily, but because he has the big circles. And Sun Wukong really only has his line clear and his sweeping ability to clear, but he can't even step up to the wave. And we see over here in duo lane, looks like the Karen and the Danza have pressure, which is kind of what I thought would happen to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, Hachi and Ganesh are actually known for their pressure, but they're designed to play a little bit safer. They've got a lot of anti-dive just in case Dope Chops does want to make that rotation over to try and assist. But it does mean that Shrimp and White Mayas are going to have a lot of control over this shield buff and their purple. We're not going to see an invade, but we are seeing a lot of early wards coming on for both teams, which is not something you see too often in low-level games, but it's good to see people are catching on that information wins the game through space and time, making its way all the way to the blue buff, but not doing anything apart from helping them clear. Ben getting no extra farm from that one, unfortunately, but that was a big ultimate down. And if Rats knows about that, that could be an easy rotation, but Rats looking for a cheeky gank on the right side, but he's going to go for that blue buff instead, take as much farm as possible, and put Jimmy in the dirt, which is really what the Gunshow Shoguns need right now, as they're also looking for an invade on the left side as well. Invades all around. Karen playing aggressive here.
Yeah, and with Jormungandr doing what he's doing in solo right now, you kind of want to choke him out of his mana pool and keep him away, and he may very well fall here if Sun Wukong has his dash up, but it doesn't look like he opts to do that. But
Wukong knows not to aggress there too hard, because Jimmy still has World Serpent available. He can just go up into the ground and be completely immune to world damage for a while, so wasn't worth diving a tower for that or using your ult. So Freaky still got his ult just in case FTW check makes the rotation over as well.
Yeah, good safe call to hold on to that, and as we see the gold is staying fairly close to even, a couple hundred one way, nothing really to be like, oh wow, that's an early lead. But everyone's farming just fine. Rat's looking to come behind this Giannis if Raijin turns around.
The mess comes out, they're looking for one, the ultimate's pop, Tiger Drum's looking for damage, finds 3 out of the damage, but Rat's taking a lot of... Can he make the wall in time? Rats cannot find him before the teleport goes away. Ben Dizzle escaping by the skin of his teeth, almost a first blood, but not... Oh, Tidal Wave also going around the corner. You just see it come through on the side, hitting those walls, but doesn't find the mark either. And Dope Chops has to leave a little bit unwilling, but still has the ult available just in case as he looks for rotation onto the left side. But knows that he can't aggress too far onto this Hachiman, so they're going to play around this shield buff, seeing if they can come in. And here comes the damage from Danza trying to get in. It looks like we steal it. Atomic Pillars comes out just as a zoning tool, but Rat's going in the sky, looking for the World Tree. Is he going to go for that damage? Going to look for an escape. Don't think he can take anyone just yet, so he's going to opt for the disengage. Pulls the Golf Yard by accident with the landing point, and Rash is going to go back to farming. He's got the Thistle Bark online, so he's going to be doing a bit of the debuff damage going into some of these fights, but he is falling a little bit behind in farm to this Pele. Pele is opting to just not fight at all, go for as much XP as possible and take that lead earlier on. Meanwhile, Ganesh losing out a bit of farm. Karen making the early rotations, got the Thebes online, is already making bank with those stacks. So he's going to be doing a lot more in those team fights later on. Ganesh trying to solo this green buff as Janice comes in and just takes out the last few minions. But Ganesh not having that Thieves online is a little bit difficult for him.
Yeah, getting behind on with Thebes stacks early really hurts until you get the Thebes all the way online. As a support main myself, it's just, I hate when I see the other support with Thebes at 20 plus stacks and I don't even have the item yet. It's like, I'm not playing the game right.
Yeah, and we're seeing these lefts coming for an invade, but Pele and Ganesh are coming out to help with this rotation. Raijin playing super far back just in case, but Karen gonna get a good dash away. Force a quick disengage. They still want to take this green buff, but you know, Bodega's not going to take it away too easily. Forces a little bit of a fight, but they do get the green insecured. But this is a 2v3. Ratatoska not here, forcing the World Serpent on the other side. Jungle Jimmy going to go back into Freaky G. Still got the health advantage, so Freaky needs to be a little bit careful. Doesn't have a full tier 3 item yet. Jimmy has that Chronos Pendant online. Rat's coming in for the counter rotation once again, trying to bait him out, trying to get this damage. Can you get it? He misses the stun, unfortunately, hits the dash, but Jimmy's not afraid. He's got damage, looking for Freaky. Freaky's forced to pop Somersault Cloud, goes in the air to get some health back as the team rotates over for Bodega Hive. Dharmic Pillars, a wasted ability as Rat goes into the air, trying to find a way out, but Bodega Hive, they're still in. FTWJ under the tower, looking for damage with Volcanic Lightning, finds nothing else except for a few tower shots. But the Bodega Hive aren't done just yet. Jimmy going to be a frontline to take some damage. Freaky's in danger, gets the Tiger away just in time. And now Jimmy's the one in danger. Tiger's done, doing a lot of damage. Can they find the cudgel? Freaky G picks up first blood of the game, 8 minutes in, but the fight's not over. Rogue Warrior comes over for rotation, takes out Ben. And they're not done yet. Gunshow comes in, Tiger Drum keeping the Ganesh on lock. He's taking a lot of damage, trying to find the way back to the tower. Dash connects into 3, but with 4 members of Gunshow, this is a dead elephant, and that's 3 kills. All in the favor of Gunshow off 1 rotation. Bodega Hive in the dirt from that one.
Yeah, good rotations on the side of Gunshow Shoguns after Bodega Hive showed the initial aggression, and to just take it and turn it around back onto him and say, hey, you started this, but we're going to finish it.
Yeah, unfortunately, Jimmy got a little bit too aggressive, took too many tower shots and too much damage, puts himself out of position, and the Bodega Hive, they try and help him out a little bit more, but it causes them all to die, not just Jimmy. And Gunshow playing very well in terms of their positioning to take out the target they need to, as Rat is looking for some damage onto Hachiman. The ultimate coming out on Rocket, he's gone inside, chasing him down, but is going to force the ultimate. Lot of damage, there we go, mounted archery popped, an ultimate for an ultimate. And this gives the Gunshow a little bit more time to farm up this, get this shield buff, and the Janice isn't going to make that rotation over as well. I saw both the Janice and the Elephant looking for that, but they're just going to disengage, go back to farming because that's all they need right now. Both Gunshow's solo laner and mid laner are heading farm, as Jimmy's looking for an invade, trying to take some farm away, but with a magic cudgel slapping at that blue buff down. Jimmy's not going to be too happy. Oh, here we come. Volcanic Lightning coming in. Misses the 2 as well, but it's getting some free damage onto Freaky. Freaky's going to pop Somersault Cloud onto the air. Looking for more damage. Pele's in danger. Tidal Wave comes in. Shrimp Warrior takes the kill into that one. Janice is here. Gets some damage with Unstable Vortex, but it's not enough and it's going to disengage. Gets Jimmy out. but FTW Chick suffering the consequences of fighting when you're a little bit too behind. Rat's not even going to make that rotation over and take that farm instead. Freaky is being a survivor right now. He's being bullied out by Jimmy, but the team is there to help him just in case. And they're looking for a little bit of aggression onto Jimmy once again. Tiger Stone connects. Jimmy's going to take a lot of damage, but Jimmy still has World Serpent just in case he gets a little bit too low. Janice also kind of lurking around the side corner. Rat is looking for him. Previous teammates. I know Dope Chops knows how Ben plays, but this time Ben's not in the solo lane. He's playing one of those squishy mid laners.
Yeah, and I just realized this. I didn't notice it from the beginning of the game, but the Pele actually has Blink for her first relic rather than a Beads or an Aegis, which would be a little more beneficial here early over the Blink.
Blink is always good if you're playing a high aggression team, and realistically, if you have a Pele, Ganesh, and a Janice, you can do a lot with the Blink relic, but it requires a lot of team coordination. A Blink is always a good option to have for a jungle in most cases, but the beads against a team like Ratataska and Karen, you definitely want a bit more CC immunity, but I think we might see a Magi's Blessing come out later on in the build. As we see Rat go into the World Tree looking for this Hachi man, but Hachi still has Magic Archery. Dash does get interrupted by the stun, but Rat's not afraid to keep fighting. Pele comes in, uses that blink, Volcanic Lightning misses from a blink in return from the Ratatasker, but White Mayase is here. He's doing a lot of damage, takes out Pele instead. And here comes the Rocket, who still have Mounted Archery available, just never mind, Blue's in danger, taking a lot of damage. White Mayase with a double kill. It is 6-0 to the side of Shoguns right now. Bodega Hive are struggling to get any return kills as the gold lead starts to pile up. 2k going to the Shoguns. They're going to look for this Gold Fury in rotation. It's only Ben that's around. We might see a sniper through time and space, but they're not aware of it whatsoever. And nothing else to come into return. There's going to be a free Gold Fury for the Shoguns.
Yeah, that was a good attempt at a solid fight from the Hive. Just I don't know if that blink ult was communicated from Pele or not. Probably why the Hachi stepped up, to be honest. Thought they were going to be able to get it.
Through space and time,
yes.
Hold that thought. Karen is a little bit in danger, getting silenced away, but the team fight is not over just yet. Gunshow playing aggressive. They're looking for the Elephant. Elephant's got no escape just yet, so he's taking all the damage. Wamiasa gets another kill. It's 3 kills deep on a rampage, on a killing spree even. And Ben's going to sacrifice his support to the Wolves, try and clear wave, make sure they don't get too much. That's a beacon going in the way of the Shoguns, as well as they're going to look for this tier 1 tower with your Asai there as well. Even Pele's made the rotation, but they have to play very, very safe with these level deficiencies right now. Ryzen takes a bit of poke damage from Unstable Vortex. They're going to disengage and go look for some more farm where they can.
Yeah, you get a good team fight, get a solid objective, and then you get the beacon on top of it. Another good objective. Good idea just to get back to farming. No reason to sit there and fight a needless fight when you're already in the lead anyway.
Yeah, and I mean, we're looking at these boards right now. We're seeing a 2-level lead on the jungle. We're seeing level discrepancies for the mid and the solo, basically the same just in farm. While Mayase does have a level lead on the Hachi, and there's a 2-level lead for support. What an interesting thing to point out. Absolution being picked up second for Shrimp Warrior, making sure any CC that comes the way of Gunshow Shoguns is stopped immediately with 1 tidal wave. Bit of an interesting early pickup, bearing in mind the CC that Bodega Hive is lacking. But with the stats it provides, it's not that bad in reality. Just gives a big of a stat stick, but breastplate still available as Jimmy is under fire now. Tiger Stun misses straight into the tower with you, Mr. Monkey Boy. And the snake is going to get away. Nice little tremble to disengage, but he's not done just yet. Ganesh is here looking for a way in, but he's going to get caught out by the Ratataska. He's going to get some damage. Space and time smacks the rat in the face, and he's forced to go under the tree immediately. And he's going to get disengaged. Jungle Jimmy into the World Serpent, going to do some disruption as the rest of the Burger Hive is going to get away. But so much HP on the Shoguns, they're going to still be very healthy coming into it, as Jimmy's going to try and find some more. Look at all these tools coming in. Freaky to take a bit of damage. Karen is in, looking for the Elephant. Elephant gets knocked away. Portal comes in. They're still fighting. Bodega hasn't got the HP advantage they want, but Freaky is still under wraps. Doesn't have Stomach Cloud, so Jimmy is going for that kill. Birds away, doesn't take the damage. And now it's Karen versus 3, but Karen's just going to walk away, or swim away, or boat away, whatever you want to say. And it's going to take up the last bit of the farm, as Jimmy's going to try and get the totem from afar.
Yeah, And a really interesting fight there. Nobody goes down in that whole entire engagement. Rat almost does when that through space and time came through and hit him, but it looks like a random minion.
Looks like Johnny got interrupted by some real life business as the Pyromancer is going to be up for grabs right now. Pele is by themselves in a 4v1 situation. Tiger Drum's going to drag them back into danger, but uses Volcanic Lightning, finding that one space. The Mez comes out, Blink comes in from Freaky G. Rogue Warrior taking up that kill, 8-1. But the Shrimp Warrior is the first to fall for the Shoguns, the first death. Gunjo take the Pyromancer, and the beads are popped for Rogue, so Rogue's gonna be in a little bit of danger as Freaky is pushing the boundaries. What he could do is 1v3. Portal on the floor used to disarray the people, but Freaky's now the one in danger. Somersault Cloud in the sky, looking for escape just as much as possible, but Ganesh is lost in the source. Completely misses the drop down, and Freaky gets away for free. But Gunshow once again just really exacerbating the farm that they have, taking all the objectives they can, but Bodega Hive, they're not so far behind where they're out of the fight just yet. It's only a 3k difference, which in the long run isn't really enough to write home about. But the builds are starting to come online for the Shoguns. We have Shrimp Warrior get that breastplate online. Raijin has got Typhons and a lot of penetration, a lot of cooldown across the board. It's going to be difficult for Bodega Hive to come forward in these fights. We see each time they try and take the initiative and try and take some damage onto Freaky, but Freaky's doing a perfect job of baiting as the rest of the team comes in.
Yeah, and that's really what you need your soul laner to be doing. Just going out there, throwing some bait, bringing somebody along, and then your team turns on them, blows them up, and that's really been the play right now for Gunshow.
Speaking of blowing up, this Hachi's going to be in danger. A mist stun comes out. Ratas could go in the air, preemptively trying to get the mounted archery. That is an Aegis coming out from Blue, but Blue's going to be in danger. Here comes a rocket, slaps him in the face, but Blue still doesn't use mounted archery, and he just gets taken down. Wamayasi going on a 4th kill, and this should be a goal if you recall. We see Shrimp already starting it as the rest of the team comes in. Ryzen doing a great job of zoning, trying to keep the Ganesh and the... Look at Janice going down the line, trying to find a way to get this snipe coming in. We see through space and time being charged. It's coming through. It's looking good. And Bodega Hive steal it with a perfectly timed ultimate from Ben Dizzle. Gunshow had no way of stopping it. Bodega Hive playing that perfect to steal away that Primal Fury. That is unfortunate for the Shoguns, but they're going to take the beacon as a consolation prize.
Yeah, but taking the beacon as a consolation prize when Primal was the one you really wanted, just one hell of a snipe by Ben Dizzle with the Giannis, and as we alluded to earlier in the pre-game show, that's what Giannis brings to the team, that global ultimate that can get to any objective no matter how far away you are.
Yeah, and that's just the perfect play for a Janice, and I bet Ben is the entire time just like, you know, I got this, don't worry about it, I've got this. Nails it, but the Gunshow Shoguns, they're not done just yet, they're going to try and take this Fire Giant instead. But this time there's a lot more contention. Jimmy, the World Snake, is coming in, going to harass the Raijin, force the Tiger Drums, Rats in the air as well. The ultimate is popped from Jimmy, going into the ground, technically, trying to cause some disruption. Charon is the next in danger. And forcing them to retreat off the Fire Giant, definitely good for Jimmy all by himself. Gunshow can no longer take that Fire Giant, and that's a quick disengage.
Yep, and they also burned their Belt of Frenzy there as well, way early in that Fire Giant. And Hachi split pushing on the duo side of the map to get down that Team 1. Looks like he may get ready to back there.
Freaky is a little bit in danger. He's being chased out by 2 members of Bodega Hive. Goes into Somersault Cloud to try and get some health regen. FTW doesn't want to take any more. As a big tidal wave comes over, just in case, Freaky's going to look at it pass by like it's a sea. Just watching the ocean drive by. And that's exactly what the Karen was doing. But that is one cooldown down that Bodega Hive could capitalize on later on. Raijin a little bit low on health, only 50% HP, so if he gets caught out of position by anyone, that could spell danger, as the Pyromancer is going to be coming up and is likely going to be the next objective for the Gunshow Shoguns to take over.
Gunshow might start it with Ben's got that ultimate back up now, and he could easily Still that away again.
Bodega's going to take it instead. They're going to look to get some free damage. The Dharmic Pillars is gone to catch out to the team, but Ryder's going to play aggressive, dashes in, forces an Aegis out. Rogue might be in danger, taking a lot of damage. Tiger Drum's not even in the air. Blue has made the rotation over, takes that kill. And now it's the Bodega Hive going for a kill on the Boatman. The boat is going to be the danger, doesn't get the knock-up on time, and that is a kill for Ben Dizzle and a Pyromancer. And now the Bodega are grouping up, and this is where this team fight comes into play. They get the Pyromancer, start pushing down this tier 1 in the mid, and it's only Freaky G that's here to defend right now. Ratataska and Asai have not made the rotation over, so Bodega, they're going to disperse, look for another kill. Rats might be knocked out. We see the damage coming in. He dashes in, trying to get a kill onto FTW Chick, but he's going to go in danger. Forces to use World Tree immediately, but is he going to go back in again? He's waiting, but he's going to disengage perfectly. But Freaky goes in just to make sure there's some saving face for the Shoguns. But Bodega Hive, they're slowly coming back into the fight. As a sentry goes down and takes away some ward vision on the Fire Giant, this could be the Gunshow's next conquest.
Yeah, it's the only big objective up on the map right now, and the fights have kind of been going back and forth here now that we've gotten towards a little bit more of the mid-game, mid-late now that everybody's starting to get close to 20 or work their way there, minus the... Well, never mind, nobody's at 20 yet. Little premature on that by me.
Yeah, nobody would be level 20 just yet, but both the ADCs are getting close to it. We'll probably see a level 20 takeover shortly. But as these builds kind of start to go off, you kind of want to see who's going to go for their starter item first. But realistically, when you've got a build like the Dancer has, they've got a lot of burst already, so they don't need to worry about it too much. As this Gold Fury, the Oni Fury, is being called. Younger Jimmy has teleported in, is going to cause some disruption. They need to choose to fight or lose it. Blue getting caught out, dashes away, but they're going to stay on the Gold Fury. Looks like the Gunshow really want it. Gunshow do take the Oni. Tidal Wave is popped, but the Boatman's low himself. Jimmy is going to disengage as well. Somersault Cloud being used in the backline, trying to find a target onto Blue, but the Bodega, they don't really want to take that fight just yet, so they're going to disengage. Ratataska goes in the air. Looks like he's trying to get the solo kill into Jimmy, but he's going to dash away. Knows that Jimmy's got a lot of damage, so Ratataska going to have to take that fight and leave it pretty quickly on.
Yeah, not much he can do to Yorm right there. Just dives on him, Yorm goes underground, pops right back up, and it's pretty even right there, and that's a good call by the Rat to get out of there.
Does use one of the bigger team fight ultimates that he has available to him, but he's gonna got enough cooldown to get it back online. As we see both teams kind of gear up towards the Fire Giant, this is going to be the next sign of the fight. We're going to see the classic, the Frank's old classic going into these Fire Giant dances. We've seen 10-minute, 20-minute ones that just didn't get out. But here comes the Rat trying to find damage onto Ben Dizzle. Beads and Aegis is popped and through space and time, looking for a way out. The Janus is safe. Tycho Drum's going to find target, knocking someone out, and that is FTW Chick, the Pele gun. Turn it to dust. Jimmy uses World's to try and get them out, but is going to get themselves out instead. Some of Gunshow are going to keep chasing. Jimmy is in danger, but Dope Chops doesn't connect too far, so the Snake gets out. And the Gunshow Shogun's going to look at the Fire Giant directly. 3 members zoning, only 2 members doing damage, calling for the ADC to come back, and this gives Bodega Hive a little bit of time to come back. See Ganesh on the right side trying to finesse their way in, trying to get away to get Dharmic Pillars in, but this Fire Giant is being shredded. Can Ganesh get there in time? So much damage coming out. Dharmic Pillars was popped, but nowhere near, so Gunshow Shoguns take that Fire Giant, and now Jimmy's going to be in danger. Ratataska is zoning to try and keep him safe. The knockup is connected, but absolutely demolishes Jimmy. The Snake is down. Gunshow is going to be charging in for the rest of this team fight. Bodega Hive, 1 man down. Gunshow's still healthy. They're looking for more, but they're just going to take the Pyromancer instead. They don't want to aggress too far, especially with a tier 2 tower up on the right side. You would have thought that would have been the next step, but Pyromancer getting that runic bomb, definitely not a bad idea, and that is 3 bombs on the side of Shoguns.
Yeah, and
pick up the bomb, Shrimp. What are you doing?
He didn't know which wards he wanted to drop, but now unfortunately your support has 2 bombs and he cannot buy any wards right now because 2 of those 3 bombs are taking up his consumable slots.
Realistically, if the rest of the team is warding, it doesn't matter. Having 2 bombs is always going to be good, whether you want to secure objectives, whether you want to push the towers. But as we see the Titans start to walk up on the right side, we are going to see a few of these bombs being used, I'm pretty certain. We do see Bodega Hive not grouping up fully just yet. We have Giannis and Blue on the right side, Yom following the Titan line, and only Freaky on the side of Shoguns. Whether we see a fight break out now, I don't know, but Pele is on the other side of the map, so we might see a split push come out from Bodega.
Yeah, this may be a point where they're like, hey, Pele, go split push, get 20, and then come join us in the fight. It's the Titans.
Oh, that thought there's a fight coming out. World Tree coming in, looking for a way in. Gonna find someone in the back line. Takes a lot of damage. Blue is forced to use Mounted Archery to get away. Uses everything he can to escape. Jimmy also using his ultimate to get away. Bodega Hive on the back foot. 4 members being zoned out under the tower line as the Chaos Titan falls. The Order Titan still fairly healthy, 50% HP, is going to start walking towards this tier 1 tower. Will Bodega do a hard defend of this tower line? They have resources available to them. They've still got 3 ultimates. We do see a Dynamic Pillars comes out. It's not enough to stop the slam down from the Titan, taking it away. But a 2-man portal forces a bit of a disengage. Freaky's coming in. Ratataska in as well. Gets a good knuckle. Freaky gets the first kill of that team fight. Dumbledore down. But another 2-man portal forces another disengage. Are they going to carry on going in? Here comes in the boatman. Gets an Aegis from the Giannis. Giannis going to pull it away. Wahamayasi takes up jungle. Jimmy, both tanks down as the tower falls. Freaky gets a double kill, taking out the Pele. It's only Ben and Blue left alive, the backliners. The Titan doesn't have a lot of HP going into this Phoenix, but this Phoenix should go down pretty safely. As the Titan walks in, Freaky's going to take some of the brunt of the damage. Through space and time, threads the needle, and now Giannis is in danger. 3-man portal to keep himself alive. Ben is absolutely cooking with the damage coming out, but Blue isn't going to be too aggressive, just opts to take out the minions instead. And they're going to look for the tier 2 tower in the mid. Karen going to take the damage as they take out this tower, and they're going to be a little bit of a tower sweep. We might see a fight come break out. Never mind, Dove Chops gets caught out of position by Giannis and Blue, taking that kill for free. That's another member down for the Fire Giant, forcing the Shoguns to disengage and start looking for anything else they can, as we see them make the rotation over towards the Gold Fury, trying to take this Primal once more.
Yeah, that's the name of the game at this point. Group up, take objectives, take team fights, and get these towers down to finish this game off and get on to the next one is what they're probably going to look to do. I don't know if they'll go for this next fire, but that's still a few minutes away yet.
Yeah, Freaky was just doing a good job at zoning there, keeping away the Giannis and the Ganesh. That is never mind, I thought they'd actually go and secure that Gold Fury, but they don't. They opt to go off it instead. Interesting choice, but now Bodega Hive, they have the option to do it if they want to, but they aren't going to group up as well. So they're just both leaving this Primal Fury for the Wolves. Interesting choice by the Shoguns there, because they definitely had the chance to get that.
Yeah, I think it would have been a free Primal for Shoguns, but like I said, they elected to go back and buy items and spend the gold they had from the tower. And then, like I said, buy their items, but it looks like they are going to be grouping up here again. Looks like Bodega is still relatively staying spread out, not really grouping very much. Pele's up by herself. If she's not careful, she may get caught out by the Wukong and the Karen.
Yeah, Pele is lurking around trying to make sure they aren't doing this Gold Fury, but a key thing to know right now is Bodega Hive, they don't have a lot of people with their upgraded starters just yet, while Gunshow are across the board almost full build. Dope Chops is going to look for a little bit of a bait coming into this. Pele is going to try and group up with the rest of his team as Pele is chasing him. I wonder if Rat knows. He's waiting for the team. Blue is going to fire some eagle eye shots at Freaky, but Freaky's going to shrug it off pretty freely. And Bodega Hive still on the back foot, still not got full build, so they're struggling. I mean, take a look at Darth Dumbledore's build. He's only got the 3 items online. He is struggling as Freaky starts taking some poke from Blue. Blue is doing a fair bit of chunking with his autos. Freaky needs to be a little bit careful, but the Fire Giant is online for the Gunshow Shoguns. Bodega Hive need to be proactive going into this fight, but Shoguns don't want to take the fire, they want to take the fight instead. So they're going to play a little bit aggressive. Raijin takes a big chunk from Unstable Vortex, forced to disengage. And the Bodega Hive, they're still going to be playing very safe. That is an ultimate from FTW Chick. Uses Volcanic Lightning to get away. Freaky is still going to be chasing. Rat goes into the sky, using that mobility to try and get some stuns. We see Freaky manage to get Somersault off just in time. And they're going to disengage, but Freaky isn't done just yet. He's trying to get one before he dies. Blue is trying to take as much damage as possible. Mounted Archery popped. Freaky sacrificed to the wolves right now. That is a kill but that is the Fire Giant in the way of the Shoguns from a valiant effort from Freaky. But did he need to sacrifice his life there? Probably not. But that is still members with Fire Giant.
Yeah, I think he definitely could have got out with his ult instead of diving in, but he chose to dive in after the Pele. Got probably a little kill thirsty there. He's already got 4 of them, so no need to get another one. But now he just has a death instead of a kill.
That is the classic moment of fuck it, you know. If you're gonna go for the kill, you might as well go all in. And Freaky, you know, he tried to do it, but failed miserably. And but they're gonna take it up pretty freely. You know, one person on Fire Giant is one less person to siege, and having it on one of the or having it not on one of the tanks, especially with how Freaky is trying to zone as much as he can, gonna be pretty impactful when it comes to the siege. So, Gunshow, they're gonna look to rotate over to this left lane, try and take this tier 2 tower. Bodega Hive, they're just going to group around in the mid lane and try and look for something. The Gold Fury still available for taking, but again, they're just not looking for it right now. They want to go push down these lanes. Phoenix has respawned in the right lane. Oh, I don't think it even went down in the first place. I think they managed to secure it. No. It definitely went down as respawned. Pele saves the waves. Yana's going to back as this tier 2 tower is going to be under duress. But Bodega Hive are going to soft defend it. We see them playing around the back line. Even Jimmy comes in. But the Emperor's Armor comes out. Last item for Shrimp Warrior. And look at this tower shred with no minions. That Fire Giant doing a lot of work. Dope Chops is looking for a little bit of aggression with the Wukong here, but it's going to take half his health in return. Finds an unstable vortex to the face through the wall. So Dope Chop's going to have to disengage, try and get some farm back as they look towards this 4v5 fight. Bodega looking very strong on the anti-siege. Yorm setting up all the pools just in case he wants to use Consuming Bellow. And Hachi just spraying those Eagle Eye autos around, trying to get some free poke onto anyone. Minions come out, Raijin going to try and get some Raiju damage, poke, and Bodega Hive, they're also poking in their own way. Ratatoska looked to go over to the right side to try and take that Phoenix, but is going to get caught out. And is going to have a rotation. Pele, what are you doing? Pele? No. Okay. The fight breaks out into the left lane instead. Gunshow are going to play aggressive. Ratatoska made the rotation over, trying to find some damage. Blue finds the first kill onto Rogue. Dope Chops gets a return kill onto Dumbledore. Ben gets a kill onto Dope. While Mayase gets another one onto FTW Chick. Blue Kate takes a third with a double kill, taking out Dope Chops. Ben Dizzle taking a second. That is 4 members down. It's just Freaky left alive. And that is a deicide for the Bodega Hive. A perfect defense, but losing 2 in the process. They're going to run it down the left lane. Try and take as much as they can. But Blue, very low on HP. Ben also pretty low as well. So they can't go for an end. But this is a free few towers for them after a successful defense. Keeping that Phoenix alive. Great anti-siege from the Bodega Hive.
Yeah, and they may very well be able to turn around and go get a T2 and a Phoenix of their own in return, even though Blue is low.
Yeah, the Blue being low is going to be the dangerous part because, you know, you are going to have Rogue Warrior come up very shortly. He's going to make that rotation over, try and get a few Taiko drums. So Blue could be in danger if he positions himself a little bit terribly. Here comes the Raijin. The Phoenix is going to go down in return, but the Raiju procs. Jimmy takes a fair bit of damage, but it's going to get into World Serpent and immediately get away. Bodega Hive going to escape, but Dope Chop isn't done just yet. He's chasing as much as he can. He does have the ultimate. He goes into the sky. Yggdrasil trying to find a way in, but can he find anyone worthwhile? He can't. Going to go into the Gold Fury instead. But Bodega Hive, they're all around just in case. So Dope Chop's going to have to just realize that he can't chase too much. Take that shield buff as the Gunshow going to group up and go down the mid lane instead.
Yeah, that was a good fight and good way to pull that Phoenix and get it down and then get out of there because they knew the rest of the team was about to come up. And now they're going for this Pyromancer here. And
it's not. I don't know if it's free or not. They do get it, but they're gonna have to not get that bomb in time. That's some beads coming down from Rogue, so he's gonna use Taiko drums to try and punish this Elephant. Elephant should die in return. Tidal Wave comes out just as well, but Wymasa gets that kill. Dope Chops in the backline though, is taking a lot of damage, forces some damage. Shrimp gets a snipe kill onto Blue. The Hatchman down is dangerous for Bodega Hive, but only 3 members alive. They need to be careful. They could lose the game here, but Dope Chops is being chased out by FTW Chick. Still has a Magi's available to them just in case that CZ comes in, and the Petty is going to give up the Ghost as Dope Chops returns to the team. they're going to start running down this mid lane. 5 members, or 4 members, because Dope is going to back. Jimmy goes into World Serpent, looking for some disruption onto the rest of the team. Rogue Warrior dashes in, trying to chase Ben. Ben gets away with a great timed Aegis. And now Jimmy is going to take a lot of damage from my Asai. Asai shreds the snake. And it's still 4 members, 5 members coming in shortly as the defense comes out. Can the Pele, can the Yanis defend? They can't. Freaky takes out 1. It's all down to Ben. Ben versus 4. Frenzy is popped. They're looking for the damage. Somersault Cloud goes in the sky. Ganesh is here. Comes up with a perfectly timed Dharmic Pillars, but Freaky is nowhere near just yet. But they take it. Gunshow finally take down the Titan in the Titan room. Ben and Doth couldn't save it just in time. Game 1 going to Shoguns after a successful team fight.
Yeah, it was a very strong fight for them around that last Phoenix, and what a snipe by who was it, Dart or Shrimp Warrior on the Karen, actually. What a snipe by him. I don't think Blue even thought to look to turn around to see if it was coming. He went around the corner and it just caught him.
Blue didn't hit the tolls of the Karen coming in, and losing the Hachi that early on, it meant that the gun show could just kind of steamroll the rest of that fight, because the Hachi was putting in a lot of work. But unfortunately, it wasn't enough for Bodega Hive, so they need to take a look at what they need to do game 2 to come back into the set. But so far, Gunshow starting off the season strong with a first win. They are going pretty strong into the rest of this match. So we will take a short break as the teams get resituated, and we'll see you all for game 2. Welcome back, everybody, to Frank's Retirement Home. My name is Sparktail. I'm joined by Jolly Green 77, and we have Lunaby on the sticks. We are currently watching the Gunjo Shoguns versus Bodega Hive run back the Walkers division this time around for Season 2, first set of the season. Currently going in the favor of the Shoguns, taking a 1-0 victory against Bodega Hive. And we're going to game 2. Is there anything that you think needs to change for the Hive going into this match? I guess we'll never know. There we go.
Completely missed that whole entire conversation. I had somebody come up and ask me a question. Sorry about that.
Is there anything that you think the Hive need to change going into this second match?
You probably don't want to see Freaky on Sun Wukong again, or the Ratatasker from where'd he go? Dope Chops, that's his name. Probably don't want to see Dope Chops on Ratatasker again.
So you don't think the Danza was an issue for the Hive at all? The 9-1 Danza, who did 30,000 damage.
Well, he went in the second set of picks last time, so maybe they're thinking he'll go second set this time, and they'll just ban him in the second round of bans.
But this time the Hive are taking first pick, so they have the priority options going in. We see a Ganesh ban coming out on the side of Gunjo Shoguns, and a Rat ban coming out from the Hive. So the Hive aren't opting to go for the Rat first pick, but they want to make sure they don't get it second pick. But this means the new character, or the newish character, Maman Brigitte, is being picked up first for the Bodega Hive. This is likely going into the jungle. This is not really going to go anywhere else unless they opt to play it in the solo lane. It is an option. But Maman is currently a very volatile god. Doesn't have a very high win rate, but does a lot of damage. So if the team can really help get some CC and confirm the damage from Maman, it's not surprising that it's being picked up. But look at what we see on the Gunshow Shoguns team, and that is the run back of the duo lane in the Karen and Danza. No surprise in the slightest there. Takes it away from the enemy team, but also make sure they have their safety. But in return, Blue gonna instantly lock in that Chernobog. And
yeah,
Jolly.
And no, I had my mic muted. I've got a lot of background noise right now, so I'm trying to stop everyone from having to hear it. But yeah, if it worked last game, run it back again. There's no reason not to, and you've already saw what the Danzaburo was capable of in Aussie's hands, and that's exactly where it's going to go again.
More than likely, but this time we do have a difference in support. Obviously, the Ganesh was banned out, so this means that we're going to see a Geb come in. Also, key thing to note is we are missing Shrimp Warrior from the side of Bodega Hive. We are having Scooby Daddy doing, so we could see a bit of a role shake-up as well as the team kind of fits in around. So we might see Scooby in mid, Doth in supports and blue in ADC. So Ben could be. Actually, no, yeah, we're gonna see Ben in the jungle more than anything else, and Jimmy and things. So it's just basically the mid swapped out. So not really much has changed. It's just Scooby's now in the game.
Yeah,
but
and
go on.
I've seen Scooby play a variety of roles. I've seen him play solo. I've seen him play mid, support. I'm pretty sure I've seen him play jungle a time or two. So I mean, Scooby can really plug in anywhere on this team. But you're right. I would keep Jimmy in the solo lane. Ben probably is going to go jungle unless Ben and Jimmy switch up.
Possibly, that is an option, depending on what they want for the jungle. But realistically, keeping Scooby mid is going to make the most sense, and just putting Ben in the jungle is likely the best option. But in return, the Thor is given up for the side of the Gunjo Shoguns. We see another kind of global ultimate. The Rat's taken away, so they're opting to go for the Thor instead. As the bans go out as follows, we see a classic Wukong ban, taking it away from Freaky, just not taken up as a top priority ban, as well as the Baba Yaga for the mid lane. In return, they're going to ban the Sol and the Morgan Le Fay. So still a lot of good options available. The Raijin is banned out, so they can't go for that one either. A few different picks they could take. Discordia is still available. Who else? You've still got Thoth that is around. Agni still available for these mid lanes. Both sides do need them. So both are up for grabs as we go into the second round of picks, and it's all up to Freaky picking for his team, seeing what Rogue Warrior gets.
Yeah, and another god that's still up that's got really good clear, really strong in the mid lane despite being a low skill level god, what everyone says. Kukulkan's still available. Big tornado, big ult, kind of that a big objective secure, a lot like what the Giannis had last game, just not nearly as much.
But we do see Rogue Warrior take up the Agni, a lot of free CC for the rest of the team, but also has a lot of confirmable damage, along with someone like a Danza, Thor, or Karen. So this Agni makes a lot of good damage potential for this Gunjo team. And it's likely a welcome pickup, but like I said, a Kukulkan is a welcome addition. No Scooby often plays it, but it looks like he's going to opt for something else entirely. He's going to go for the Marty Chorus in the mid lane instead, opting for a physical solo laner instead. Marty, a very safe character, does a fair amount of damage, but the nerfs have hit him very hard, where he's not as great in the current meta. But this does allow for a few magical options in other areas. For example, we have the magical jungle and the magical solo lane. The Apois going last for the solo lane. Not seeing the return of Jimmy on the Jormungandr, but Apois is definitely a notable example for a solo lane that's still doing incredibly well. A lot of sustain, a fair amount of damage, and it's very hard to kill an Apois when they're just healing up their courses. So it does force the Gunjo to build a lot of anti-heal.
Yeah, and he's got that very wide ult, so if somebody's chasing him, he just drops it and keeps running down, and you really don't want to chase off plus to his ult.
No,
and then the Marty course, go ahead.
Yeah, the Marty is going to be a big important part of how this team comp flies, but right now they don't have a lot of overall damage, but they have a lot of sustain. So they're going to be in the fights longer than normal, especially with this Apois Marty. So I'm not going to see a lot of how this fight works out for them overall, especially with how aggressive they tried to be in the previous match. But in return, we are seeing the return of Chark coming their way into the solo lane. Chark has recently come back, got a few decent buffs, and is really punishing people, especially with the Warriors' axe changes. So seeing how Freaky plays on this instead of the Wukong will be a welcome change, but so far, this draft for the Gunjo just seems overall better. They have a lot more aggression and just a lot more overall damage to pressure those team fights, while the Bodega Hive, they don't really have that. They have a lot of survivability with the Geb, the Marty, the Apois, but they don't have a lot of potential for those team fight presence outside of the Maman. So that's got me a little bit concerned as to what the Bodega are cooking right now.
Yeah, and only time will tell. But the one matchup that really surprises me in this entire God lineup is going to be the Apois and the Chalk. Taking the Chalk into the Apois when he does extra damage when somebody's healing. So very interesting to take the Chalk there.
We might just see Chalk burning his ult on cooldown. It is a very high possibility we just see him ult every time that 3 is popped whenever he can. So Ben is going to be playing pretty, I would say playing pretty aggressive, but we are seeing Ben go into the solo lane and Jamie go into the jungle playing this Maman. Unless we're seeing an Alpwad jungle, which I heavily doubt. So we are seeing a slight change up in the roster overall for the Bodega Hive.
Yeah, and I would also be very surprised if it was anything but Aqua, Solo, and Maman in the jungle. That's just that would throw me off quite a bit to see that.
Yeah, and it could be interesting to see how the rest of the team fights go. Like I said, keep saying, they keep hammering on. They have a lot of ability, but their early game is going to be extremely rough for Bodega Hive. So they need to kind of soldier through this like early to mid game, see how it goes on, and if Guncho start getting a lead like they did in the previous game, it could spell a bit of an issue for Bodega Hive. But if Bodega Hive is keeping on top of farm, which they were doing for the most part in game 1, they could still have a pretty good chance coming to the late game. If they're able to just tough out all of the damage and all the ults from the Shoguns, they can win by sustain and win those fights just on pure force alone. So this could be a good back and forth, but it is Gunsho's match to lose. They are currently 1-0 in this best of 3. So if they do lose the set, it goes to a game 3. But if they do win this match on the side of Shoguns, this would be wraps for the Hive. And they have to move on with a loss on the next week.
Yeah, it's difficult when you start the season with a loss, but the only thing you can do from that is work the next week and come in with a better plan or a better identity of what you want to do and how you want to play the game. But we still have at least one more game, maybe 2 left to go here. So let's see what happens here in the next 30, 35 minutes or so with this game number 2.
Yeah, and like I said, it is all to play for, and we are seeing a bit of a roster shakeup from Bodega Hive, so this could spell a win for them if they play their cards right. It's not just the same players on different characters, it is different players overall. Guncho Shoguns are staying true to their identity, but even running back some of the same picks in their duo lane. So Guncho Shoguns do have the advantage, but with advantages like that becomes predictability, and that is something Bodega Hive can use in their favor.
Yeah, and anytime you see either this Cherno or Thor go up, you just clear the area. Well, not so much with Cherno, but with the Thor going up, if he goes up for his ult, you just back off. He can only get so far. Cherno can get pretty much anywhere on the map as long as there's an enemy. But it should be a good game. Last game, I think, will be ignored pretty much for this next set.
Yes. First things I want to pick out in terms of the builds is this Maman build is not something that I'd expect to see a lot of. Not only do you have the blink, which we talked about previously in terms of the jungle, you need to have a lot more aggression. But into an Agni Thor Chark, you definitely want to have that beat earlier on. It's going to be an issue for Maman to get in, but also just the build itself in terms of the Bombus dagger into the book build. I don't know if it's going to do a lot of work for him. My man needs a lot of cooldown to get a lot of the value out, so normally I kind of see like the Eye of the Jungle Chronos build going to work in the jungle, and that kind of does a lot more. But this kind of book start, I'm not feeling it. I don't think this is going to work very as well as Jimmy intended to. And it might just be new character kind of vibe, see what you can do, work with what you can, but it's going to be difficult. But also seeing the one being used somewhat correctly, tries to get that poke damage off, get that tick, try and get the passive slam, but Thor's going to play pretty safely, just throw hammers around as much as possible.
Yeah, that's one good thing about Thor. You just throw the hammer in. You don't have to go in and get too close to anybody. But if you look at the support build, the Geb went with the War Flag over Benevolence or Sentinels.
War Flag, you got 2 ADCs. It's not a bad pickup whatsoever.
No, it's not. Not in this situation. It's just, I looked down at the Geb and I saw it and I was like, that's a odd relic, but with 2 ADCs, not as much.
A relic? The relic is a shell, my friend. That's a starter item. Yeah, both of the supports are going for the shell relic, which is kind of what you expect nowadays. It makes a lot of sense, but like I said, the wall flag, they do have 2 ADCs, so it's going to prove to be a little bit more valuable later on. And I'm sure Jim is going to make a lot of use out of the attacks as well, get that passive online as much as possible. We miss a kill on the left lane. Dope Chops, I didn't think had a lot of potential, but gets a kill onto Darth Dumbledore. Probably a perfectly timed double taps. That is first blood going to the Gunshot Shoguns, and we missed it. A big unfortunate.
Yeah, and that's a lot. That's a lot earlier than what it was in the last game. Last game, I don't think we had first blood until...
It was for 8 minutes, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a long time until it was a triple kill him, right? But the safety of this comp, yeah, the safety of the comp so far in Bodega not working out as well as they intended to. Losing first blood means that they're going to play from behind a little bit more. As we see Scooby try and play a little bit aggressive onto Agni, but Agni is just going to dash the wave instead and play his own game of safety.
Yeah, and that's probably how it's going to be in that lane for quite a while. Just Marty gets his clear, then Agni gets his clear, and they both come back, do the same song and dance over and over again, especially with those two characters.
And right now we are seeing a bit of lane dominance coming out from Ben Dizzle on this Apwa. Apwa full HP, only half mana, and Chark is already low HP and low mana, trying to 1v1 his blue buff and almost losing. Having to sustain a little bit more, but he does get it just in time. But Ben just has a lot more presence going into this lane. And it is like you said before, picking the Chark into an Apwa is almost a death sentence if Freaky doesn't play this correctly, because this Apwa is going to be very dominant with that anti-heal.
Yeah, and that's just one thing that Freaky's going to have to play around right now, is the anti-heal on that Apwa, especially for these first few minutes of the laning phase. And maybe he can get his jungler to come over and get a really good gank, get a early kill on the Apwa, and kind of give himself a little bit of a lead.
It does look like Dope Chops is making that rotation over, playing around the Fire Giant wall, looking for a way in onto the Apwa, but Apwa is going to have a lot of survivability, which is going to be a big point of contact for Thor. So Thor's not going to go and fight too much, instead going to look for the farm where he can. Agni does do a lot of damage to the Marty. Marty's going to heal up again through his passive, so a little bit of passive trades going on there as both mids want to get the damage off. See more damage go off to Scooby. Scooby half hits. And still not more coming in. Thor is still looking for a gank onto right side. Gets the stop off onto Ben. Also, Ben has no ultimate right now. So Ben is going to be in a little bit of danger. Has the teleport available just in case he needs to back. But again, he's got a lot of sustain. And Thor's playing a little bit up in the jungle of the side of Bodega Hive. So Jimmy isn't going to be in danger, but needs to be a little bit careful. Is going to secure his speed buff. And Thor's going to be there for those mid camps, try and get those early rotations in. But Hammer of Dawn comes in, tries to guess the target, but Marty is going to be pretty safe, is forced into the air. And Dope Chops is going to get away, but that is an ultimate for an ultimate. But played the guessing game and lost the coin flip. Big unfortunate for Dope Chops. They didn't have that connection with Rogue Roy. Rogue Roy didn't see where the Marty went, but perfectly placed invis portals means he can just kind of traverse between the both and play as safe as he needs to.
Yeah, really good play there by Scooby to have a couple of different options available to hide in and not get seen by the Agni. Makes Thor guess, like you said, and Thor guessed wrong.
I thought Thor was going to try and go in on the Marty there, but very low HP. Obviously just go take the Harpy instead, tries to get some more farm at very low HP. But my man has the book online, so it's going to be stacking that, and again, we'll see how this plays out for them, because it will be a good spike in damage, don't get me wrong, but that early game is going to be very rough for you. So Jimmy's going to be doing a lot of farming, I think, here, and is already getting that lead in farm from Dope Chops, who is falling a little bit behind in the XP department. But the rest of the team isn't suffering too much. It's only Blue who is a little bit behind, is only got a level down on the side of Wamiase, but Wamiase has his Asai online, the namesake of his own build. As we see a bit of an invade come out for the Shoguns, they're looking to take this blue buff away from Apwa. Apwa pops the ult, but even doesn't get it with the ticks. So the Bodega Hive are going to be a little bit down and out of this one. Gep has made the rotation just in case, but Gunshow, they're pretty happy with that. Uses a few of the bombs to go in on the side and take out Ben's ult in return for a few bombs. I'm pretty certain the Agni is pretty happy about that. You know, 20-second cooldown, you're not bad. Chark ult comes out, he's gonna get stunned. This could be a death. Ben Dizzle taking that kill into Freaky. A tidal wave comes out, finds a little bit more from the Karen, but Karen's now put himself in danger against 3, but is gonna walk towards the tower line, not towards the Marty who was coming up behind. And so far, it's a 1-for-1 overall. Gunjo Shogun's not losing out on the farm too much, as the gold farm is about equal across the board.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
Hammer
we
of
see
Dawn
Thor-
coming out. We have the Chernobog going the wall, so he's got to wait out the thing. Is we going to see the land coming out? He opts to not go under the tower and opts to go for the shield buff instead. But that's another wasted cooldown on Dope Chops. So Bodega is going to be pretty happy about that one. But Blue correctly playing Chernobog there to stay in near the wall just in case any CC comes on the corner and just hides there, baits out the timer as much as possible.
Yeah, and that really left Dope Chops nowhere to go but to that silver buff, since there was no real safe target for him to land on in the duo lane.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really want to be diving tower this early on when you only have Jotuns online. You don't really have that much kill potential. But the rest of the team is still going to try and do as much more. We see Scooby take a lot of poke damage from the bombs, but in return, Rogue is going to take as much health himself. Scooby pops the ultimate. I'm not sure what his plan was there. Geb is here, doesn't have the ultimate anymore. There's a lot of confirmed CC as well. Wamiasa is doing a lot of damage to Blue in the left side. Blue's going to have to run away just in case Wamiasa uses a rocket to come in. Dope Chops is around, did a little 1v1 versus Jimmy, but neither jungle really wanted to commit too much just yet. And these health bars aren't looking too great on either side. Rogue tries to get a cheeky stun off, but doesn't get it just in time. Dumbledore rolls out just to get some free pressure and keeps Scooby alive.
Yeah, and that was a really weird timed ult from the Marty. He wasn't really looking towards anybody at that time, and it was just the Karen that was there.
Also, you'd love to see a missed one on minions. I'm not sure Scooby anticipated Ben to pull it there, but that's a completely missed one, so it's a big unfort. But that is a blue buff secured for the Bodega Hive, as we see a bit of an invade coming out from the Gunjo, trying to take out my man. My man going to use that fire, does take the buff, and is opting to just try and take as much farm as possible. Jimmy going to go around the left side, see if they can get any more farm. But we see a rotation. Possibly? Karen isn't looking right now, but there must have been called. Thor is going to come in, and now we see the fight come out. Jimmy is going to have to try and fight multiple people. Stun comes out onto the boatman. Shrimp is going to take the option. But the dash goes in and out, gets Jimmy out for free, but has a lot of poke damage on it to the boat.
Yeah, nobody really turned on Jimmy there. It was just, he was in and out. Nobody rotated over for him. But he started to build a triple A farm. We see the ult coming in for the Dans that doesn't hit. He did a good shot.
Wall. What a wall.
Oh, yes.
Even gets the beads away from Blue, but Blue, just trapped like a rat in a cage, is falling to the side of Bodega Hive. And now we see Chark a little bit in danger, taking a lot of damage from the ultimate. My man is here, the ultimate is popped to stop the CC. Freaky is going to survive a little bit longer. The tick damage not enough to take him out, but that is a successful gank onto the right side, forces the Chark to back away. So Bodega Hive going to get even more pressure on the right side. We could see some tower line coming in as Marty and Geb are going to push down this mid lane. No support to help Rogue, but Rogue is here coming in as Thor comes the rotation. A great wall comes out, finds two. Beads comes out from Marty, as does the shell. Or, no, it wasn't even a shell, it was just a Geb shield. Marty goes in the air, Rogue Warrior by himself, forced to use beads as well. And that is a death on the side of Rogue for playing too aggressive. Scooby picking up that kill in return, but Scooby's going to have to disengage himself just in case he gets caught out of position. But Jimmy is also here just in case the fight goes even further. That's unfortunate for Blue. He dashes in and then dashes out. Wamiasa gets a clean kill from a perfectly placed taunt. And so far this Danza is getting a lot of value once again, making Bodega Hive wish they would have banned it in the first set around, but Gunshow, they knew what their value was. We see Hammer of Dawn come in looking for this Apoir, finds the stun as the team comes in. This Apoir is dead to rights. Dope Chop's getting that kill. And Dope Chop's now on a killing spree. So he's got a bit of a bounty place on him just in case he gets caught out. But taking out the Apoir gives Chark a lot of relief going into the fight. But he's opting to go for double magical defense. So no breastplate online just yet. But has the Onis and Genjis online. So he's a very tanky boy. Rocket comes out, finds Maman, but Maman gets absolutely shredded from that damage. Wamayase was ready. He knew that was pinged out. Jimmy gets caught out, and Gunshow have even more pressure in this left lane. They're going to look for this Gold Fury, but Blue is here, as is Dumbledore coming in, so they might look for a cheeky steal. Blue is around, but we see a disengage come off of the Shoguns. They're going to try and take this fight 3v3. Dope Chops in the mid, just in case we see a fight break out. Dope Chops is there, but he's going to secure that beacon.
Yeah, and Cherno's down.
Cherno's dash is down, so Cherno's now in danger. Cheeky stuns from Agni because a lot of damage. Blink comes out from Dope Chops, but has no mana to follow up, so Blue is going to get it away. That's a lot of resources used by the Shoguns. As a stun comes out into Scooby, Scooby's going to be in danger next. A lot of damage comes out. Blue gets a good root off, but it doesn't matter. The Boatman comes in. Blue is in the wall. He's got no dash. Charcoal comes in, finds the Chernobog. Chernobog's in danger. Beats is popped. Can Char get the kill? He can't. A tidal wave comes out. Blue isn't getting caught out by this time. And the disengage comes out. Gunshow still have the advantage. Only Boatman is the one really in danger, but Jimmy and Blue had to back and causing themselves a bit more pressure. Scooby is here just in case. They don't want to give up the Gold Fury for completely free. So Scooby is staying around, lurking in the waters, but Freaky is here just to apply some pressure. But Scooby's not afraid of fighting, going in and out of his fields, but he can't get anywhere close. But those health bars in the Shoguns, it is very low, but they've got no kill pressure going into it. But that should be a free Gold Fury. Never mind, they have to go off it just because of those health bars as the rest of Bodega Hive make their rotation in.
Yeah, it's a... Marty kept the chalk busy, and Blue could have gotten in there and stole that easily if they would have kept going. Their health bars would have gotten a little bit lower. He had some great kill potential if he had his ultimate available.
Now the Bodega Hive are going to go for the Gold Fury instead, and the Gunshow Shoguns aren't there to support it outside of Shrimp. Shrimp is the only person that can really make their rotation in. Gold Fury still once again just low. With the fight comes in, Hammer of Dawn finds two Alpha pops the orb, but he's going to take a lot of damage, can't save his jungle. The man is down, and these health bars very, very low. The blue team is suffering right now. Dope is going to take some damage from him by his own. Agni tries to get some free poke onto Blue, but Blue's in the backline by himself. He's in danger. He's going to go for a back, but the team is looking for him. ADC versus ADC. Danza misses the mark, can't find him. The Chillabug is escaping. Meanwhile, Agni is in danger himself, dashes away. Blue can't find the mark, but gets away from Scooby. The fight isn't over just yet as the solo comes in, forces Marty ult. He's looking for damage onto the Chark. Never mind, Shrimp is here. Tidal Wave punishes Blue once again, but this time close quarters. The shotgun, Scooby's in danger, but he can't find the mark. 1 HP, Scooby's living, but it's playing with fire right now. The rest of the team of Bodega is here. They're playing it up. They want to find their way in. Apwa is here trying to frontline, but needs to be very careful just in case the Shoguns collapse. But the Shoguns, once again, just a little bit too low in HP to really do anything with the lead they have in the kills. Chark is going to try and take this 1v2, but he's going to disengage the second he sees Maman. Thor is in the air. Do they know? Do they know Chark is gone? Maman is getting knocked down. But so far, Thor has to disengage because there's 3 people there. Dope tried to get the fight, but loses the 1v3 and is going to disengage and get out. He doesn't lose his life, but the fight still isn't over as they fight over those oracles. Hopefully now there's a little bit of a break as the team stop playing arena and realize it's a conquest map and there's other farm to have.
Yeah, it's definitely been a long fight over this Gold Fury. One team starts it, the other team steps up, everybody backs off, and then vice versa. So it's been posturing. I mean, and Pyro's up, Fire's up. You could have went and stuck one of those other 2 objectives while fighting over this basic Gold Fury.
Yeah, the Pyromancer is still available. That could have been shredded pretty easily by like the ADC, or if Jimmy and a tank wanted to go over and just do that, they could have done that pretty quickly. And we might see the posturing coming out there. We see the Bodega Hive kind of opt more towards the right side of the map, while Gunshow looking more towards the left, but again, just no one wants to commit to these objectives. As the Pyro finally gets called out for Bodega Hive, they're going to try and take it with 3 members down. Thor going into Hammer of Dawn, looking for a target. Whether he finds it, Tadaway comes in, perfect stun, taking a lot of damage. That is my man down. Once again, Glass Cannon falls, but a lot of damage from Scooby, pressuring the team. A great Aegis stops the damage, and Scooby going to get away pretty much unscathed. From the rest of the team, Gunshow are now going to play the aggressive. A great one from Scooby means that the rest of the team has to back away or face the wrath of the Multichorus. Agni finds a good stun, dash comes out, Blue is in, but gets stunned immediately, forced to use beads. Dope Chop's gonna have to disengage, but saves the rest of the team from Waking Nightmare. And once again, the fight starts with someone dying on Bodega Hive, but Gunshow still not having the health or resources to continue the fight, thanks to the damage from Scooby. And right now, Geb is the one that's under aggressive, but just kind of rolls away for free. Gunshow comes in, a good stun comes out, and now Marty is still in danger, but you got no auto save you this time. Can he find it? Freaky gets the kill with a spin. Takes him down. That is a mid laner down as Apois has made the return to the team fight. Gunshow are still looking for a little bit more, but they're going to just take that, take the beacon instead. And Ben's going to get some free poke. Maman around the corner just in case they do want to take that fight, but he knows not to step up against 3 members of Gunshow. And he's going to play for the farm game instead, as the Gunshow back, taking their prize pretty happily.
Yeah, and Gunshow is starting to get to that point where they were in the last game, where they've got to about 3-4K gold lead, and they're starting to get levels and items ahead of the other team.
Yeah, and we're seeing that kind of like level lead come out. You know, we wanted the Maman to spend a lot of time farming, but has now fallen to a 2-level deficit to the Thor. So far, Dope has just been more active in the team fights and getting more presence around the camp, so is providing more in that sense. Rogue Warrior, even though Scooby's been a bit more prevalent in some of the team fights, Rogue Warrior is going to be up in farm as well. Supports are even, but the biggest deficit right now is this 3-level lead in ADC. While all these fights have been happening, while my assay has just been farming his nuts off, and is absolutely taking on as much farm as possible, trying to reach that speed run to level 20. We see him in the left lane try and play safely around this wave just in case he wants to get ganked, and he's going to be absolutely very unstoppable when it comes to these late game team fights. Blue is posturing to try and take fights, but just so far, White My Assay is proving to be a dominant force in these fights.
Yeah, and you've seen Blue go up in that ult a few times and go on to somebody with low health, and he's just not able to finish him off because as soon as he lands, the rest of the team has turned and said, hey, let's get this Cherno, or it's been somebody that can escape from him, and he just hasn't been able to finish off any kills.
Yeah, I mean, the last time he teleported in, just immediately gets stunned by Dope Chops and forced to use beads to get away. It's always rough seeing a fall from grace, but Chernobog received a lot of due nerfs, and we're seeing the culmination of that. Because Blue notoriously is a decent ADC player, but he's just struggling with the character he's picked. Even the Hachiman game 1, he just wasn't able to play as safe as he needed to against how aggressive the Shoguns are in these team fights. But it's like I mentioned before, they take that first kill pretty easily by committing so much, but they lose a lot of the HP in return, so can't do more. But Bodega Hive are going to take some advantage, as they're going to try and take this Gold Fury as they sacrifice Ben in the right lane, going for this tier 1 tower. So that was a nice consolation prize, taking out the Gold Fury. Danza cannot make it in time, but my man very low. Dope Chops gets the kill onto Ben, but the rest of the Shoguns are going to try and commit for this tier 2, but they're going to be pretty happy with it just in case. And we could see the Pyromancer go next up in line for the Shoguns as it spawns in very shortly. We see a Cataclysm coming out from Darth Dumbledore, trying to find their way into Dope Chop's heart, but Dope gets out with a crispy teleport. That's one big team fight ultimate down for Bodega Hive. Here we go, the Danza is in, looking for damage, forces the ultimate from Scooby, taking a lot of damage from White My Assay. White My Assay is taking nothing in return. It's only Dope Chops who is low, and he's pulled the Pyromancer. Gunshow are going to try and take this, but looks like we've just hit a pause from the team. And we'll see what's happening real quick. Looks like one of the players' Smite crashed, which is predictable, so we will take a short break as they load back in. And we are back. We see Hammer of Dawn being popped, and Thor opts to go in. The combination of the damage means that Scooby has to use beats and Aegis. They're still going for the chase, but Scooby gets away. Like I said, we get straight back into the action as the Pyromancer falls to the Shoguns. They're going to start running it down mid. Karen goes in for Geb. Geb's taking a lot of damage. Look at that slow field. He is standing stone. but gets away very slow. 2 members, 1 HP. It's only Ben to keep that tier 2 tower alive, and Gunshow are actually a little bit afraid. They're gonna go, we're not gonna try and take this fight just yet. Disengage and start looking for other farm that we can, or spend what we can, because a few people are gonna be finishing off their builds. We see Rogue go for that Typhons online. Shrimp has got the Absolution available once again. Absolution definitely a better pickup this time against the Geb. We're seeing not much variety in the builds, but so far it's just Gunshow Shoguns have so much pressure in the map and the farm, they're just items ahead. And that's where a lot of these fights are kind of winning, you know. They have a 5k lead, which, granted, we've seen a lot higher before. We have seen 10k, 15k leads. So Bodega Hive definitely aren't out and about just yet. They still have a lot of chances to do anti-sieges. We saw it in the first game where they just do a 1 Phoenix siege and get a fair amount of farm off it. So we could see the exact same thing happen this time around, but Gunshow are being a lot more dominant this time around. And a lot of it comes from the jungle pressure. Dope Chops is a champion from the, or not a champion, he was on Bodega Hive, so he was a finalist from the previous season, so he's got a lot of presence in his name, and Jimmy is not playing the solo role, which he's accustomed to, but Jimmy just hasn't seemed as comfortable on this Maman. That's an unfortunate timing for the rocket, while my Asai gonna disengage as well, as Blue forces Waking Nightmare and is going to disengage as well. But that is one ADC ult down on either side, as the team fight is breaking out around the beacon line. Looks like the Gunshow are going to take that pretty freely, and this means the Titans are going to run it down mid.
Yeah, it's about that time in the game where you start pushing these Titans, let them do some things. Thor goes up in the ult.
See Hammer of Dawn, he's going to land on this 4 people grouped up, but if he goes by himself, he could spell death, but he's going to just disengage instead. Dope Chops, that may have been a misclick, because none of the team was there to help secure any of the damage. But Bodega Hive, they played it very smart, just played together, said, look, if he lands on us, he dies. And that would have been a nice little pickup for them to start running it down. But Thor is not afraid just yet. They're going to try and get some free poke off, as the Gunshow are looking to take the Fire Giant with just Karen and Wild My Asai alone. Doing some good zoning work from Dope Chops, as the Fire Giant is burning here and there. Freaky also on the front line, just to make sure that these 3 members of Good Shoguns are pretty safe. And so far, Bodega Hive, they have no clue what's going on apart from Ben. Ben may have been the only person to start calling out, but as an Apoir, what's he gonna do, my friend? And that is a Fire Giant going in the favor of the Gunshow Shoguns, as the Titans start to make their way in. So with the Titans coming up, the Gunshow Shoguns have that Fire Giant buff. It's going to be hard for the Bodega Hive to come in, so they're going to try and play around with this little cheeky bit of invis. But whether they can actually do anything is not entirely. Scooby's going to throw some ones down the line, try and get some poke damage where they can. But so far, Gunshow, they still have the numbers advantage as well as the fire advantage. But it's their fight to lose. One mistake could cost them everything. So instead of pushing with their Titan, they're going to go try and get some free farm everywhere else. Go for this Primal Gold Fury instead. Just try and take all the farm off the map and sacrifice the Titan. Interesting choice, and it's working out for them.
Yeah, I mean, that Titan can do so much by itself that you really don't need to babysit it the whole way. So it frees you up to go get other objectives, and you took out their Titan, so you really have no threat of their Titan coming down to your team.
Bodega do take the Gold Fury instead, but Dope Chops comes in out of nowhere with the Hammer of Dawn, tries to get some damage onto Jungle Jimmy. Tidal Wave comes out, finds a few, forces the ultimate from Scooby. Scooby's gonna have to disengage, but Gunshow Shoguns aren't done just yet. A great zoning ult from Ben Dizzle to stop the aggression, but they may be sacrificing their Geb in the process. The rollout was not enough to save him there, but now with 1 member down on Bodega Hive, Gunshow Shoguns have a little bit of freedom. Only Rogue and Asai have their ultimates available to them. 3 other big team fight ults are down, so the Bodega Hive do have a slight advantage. Jimmy is here, but it's taking a lot of damage on the left side, trying to save the minions as the Gunshow Shoguns are pressuring this mid lane. Rogue doing a lot of damage to Ben as well. Ben slowly taking some chip damage, but he's just going to get some courses up and fill himself up right again. That sustain is kind of nuts. And Scooby's just going to keep poking out these minion waves. And once again, Shoguns are going to disengage. They don't want to push too far. They're a little bit scared of the Bodega Hive's anti-siege.
Yeah, and you see the Chernobog coming over to show face against the Thor at the solo lane T2. Thor was trying to do some split pushing, and
Thor,
Cherno was
what a
like, no thank you.
Thor, stop it. There is a Geb there. Thor, this is not a fight you want to take, my friend. I think he's finally realized it's not worth it trying to fight Blue. A little bit of an ego check. But unfortunately, Dope Drops does decide to not take that fight and gonna go back towards his team, just take some farm where he can. Unfortunately, Geb did leave though, so if Dope Drops did try and take that fight, Blue may have been forced to use Waking Nightmare and take one big team fight ultimate away from the Bodega Hive. Could have been interesting, but Bodega Hive, they aren't down and out just yet. As I just said, they are grouping up in this mid lane, doing the hard defense of this tier 2 tower. They don't want to give it up at all. Dans are going to put up the left lane, and it's going to threaten that tier 2 and left instead. As Jimmy is going to try and find some poke damage off onto Dope Chops in that right jungle. And that's that tower down and out. No one can save it, but Blue is here. Blue's going to take some damage maybe, but the autos just aren't connecting. Blue outspeeds the Dancer. And looks like we're going for a Phoenix call, maybe. We have Boatman here, Karen is here. Do they want to go for the Pyro, or do they want to go for the Phoenix, or do they want to go for the fight? It looks like they're going to be fought on instead. Taking a lot of damage. Shrimp half HP as the man comes in. And Darth Dumbledore gets a freak into Freaky. Freaky stayed over a little bit too long. And the tier 2 tower still up in mid. The Good Shogun's a little bit in disarray, not deciding on what objective they want to push. And they're gonna have to disengage once again. As the fight.
Yeah, it's a little bit of miscommunication there, I think. I think Freaky just tanked that T2 a little too long, and that allowed the Geb to get in there and get a knock-up kill. Really unfortunate, just a little bit of miscommunication, but being week 1 of the season, you kind of expect that.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be some kind of miscommunication no matter where you go, no matter like how late in the season you are. There's always going to be that one kind of call that kind of messes you up a little bit. So far, we're just kind of seeing the early stages of how a team fight goes. White My Side pushes the left lane, takes the tier 2 tower out, and I think Shrimp wanted to try and take that Phoenix. But with just no other backup, you can't really threaten the Phoenix that easily without having any runic bombs available to you. And that was the biggest drawback for the Shoguns down that split push. As there was just a 3v4, Ben Dizzle, you know, almost dies himself, so it's not like they didn't lose anything. Also, Martial being popped out pretty early on. It was under threat by Dope Chops and Rogue Warrior there. So Scooby is going to have to play a little bit safe around this fight. Shoguns are looking to get some aggression. A 4-man knock-up from Geb is going to dissuade that. But Bodega Hive are going to have to play safe. They're going to have to be very far away. Geb gonna hide in the grass, trying to find something. Chark goes in, tries to find the one hidden in the grass, but doesn't find the Geb somehow. Guncho Shoguns are gonna go disengage, go towards this fire giant in 30 seconds.
Cherno's split pushing all the way to the Phoenix.
There is a teleport come out from a Chark to dissuade that. Guncho Shoguns are looking to take this fire giant, but it's not going to be enhanced. And that's a small delay. Blue's coming in the rotation from Waking Nightmare, and he's taking a lot of damage. Thor in the air. Who's going to land on? He's got 5 members strong of the Bodega Hive coming in. My man blinks in, finds some damage onto the boatman. Going to dash it away. Thor going to try and take some damage away from the left side. And Blue is in the fight. Gets hit with a Chark knockup. Bees and Aegis. In the wall you go. Chark is running him down, and Outpour Wall to zone the rest of the team fight. One may I say takes out one. The Maman falls, but Chark is fighting 4 of them. A great Aegis perfectly tied by Blue, but can he save the damage? He can't. Dope takes the kill. Gooby in the air once again, keeping the fight alive a little bit longer. Geb gonna have to run away, but so much damage coming out. Beads coming in. There's a lot of damage still going on to Geb. Boatman's making the rotation in, trying to find the damage. The slow comes out. Chark is still running it down mid. A wall. Stop the damage. Dope takes out Dumbledore. Scooby falls closely behind. It's just Ben alive. No ultimate to save you. The Agni dashes in, trying to take some damage. So far, Dope Chops is the one doing the most. Rogue gets a few bombs off, but it's going to have to give Ben Dizzle a way out. The stun comes in, but so much damage. What are you doing, Boatman? Don't fight him too hard. Get the Phoenix, my friend. You might die to it now. Shrimp stayed alive by the strength of his teeth, but Ben Dizzle finished off with a 3. It's a 1v4 with Fire Giant. Can Ben do it? But Jimmy is up, so Guncho are going to have to rethink their decisions and leave before the 2 Magicals are going to go at them. But they start off as an old drive-by, trying to take this speed buff. don't get punished by a good double tap. Comes out onto the Agony, does a lot of damage. You know, a third of his HP is nothing to laugh about. Jimmy, what do you do? Oh, okay. Freaky had me a little bit scared there, but it's not over just yet. Hammer of Dawn is up. Finds a two-man stun. The combination of the charcoal, Dope Chops takes out Ben, finding the second kill onto Jimmy. The magical stayed up a little bit too long. None of the Titans are down. It's just the Phoenixes, Scooby and Darth and Blue are here to save the day to try and do as much damage. Actually dashes away to stop the damage outcome. But Gunshow are gonna finally stop this fight and give up the ghost. After really ruining Bodega Hive's day there. No safety in the tower line.
Yeah, that's just that was one good team fight from Shoguns. One great two-man Thor dunk, and then following it up with a great ult from the Chalk to make sure they get both of those kills.
And look, that's one thing you love to see is your jungle and your solo communicating CC. The fact that Dope Chops are just in the air, like, look, I can find two people, and the second he's landing, Freaky's just there with an ult as well. It's just like, hey, look, you've just been dunked on, but here's a secondary dunk. It just meant that they had no escape. I mean, no beads and Aegis available for either of them. They just take the full brunt of the damage and have to deal with a 3-second silence. And that spells their doom.
Yeah, there wasn't much either one of them could do there, but just watch their health bar tick down to 0. And that's exactly what they did.
All the while that firefight was going on, Chernobog did try to split push that left lane, but gets forced away by Chark. Ults in. But with that Phoenix still being extremely healthy on the left side, Blue is struggling to find value in this Chernobog pick, which is proving to be a bit of a downside for Bodega Hive. Having your ADC not be as omnipresent as this, you know, not only the Thor who's 7-0, but also just wipe my ass eye on this Dancer who's 4-0. Who characters the Deathless is causing a bit of a strife for Bodega Hive.
Yeah, it's not been the best game 2 for them, and it looked like Gunshow Shoguns kind of figured out what they were trying to do and has forced them to play the way they want to play.
And that's really what this game is. The second that you get control of the map and you're forcing them to play your game, it's all in your court. And then if the Gunshow make a mistake and Bodega Hive capitalize, it's only the Gunshow's fault to blame for the Bodega Hive playing better. But right now, the ball is in their court. They've still got a lot of presence everywhere, and they're kind of deathballing. They don't have their ADC just yet as they start to make rotations onto this right lane. Meanwhile, Bodega Hive are playing hide and seek in the mid around these Marty grasses. And right now we have Blue opting to go for a split push once again down this left lane. Chalk does have teleport available just in case, so Blue might not get there in time. Thor is opting to try and get a bit of poke damage around this Phoenix as the team starts making the rotations. And Gunshow are just playing for time, playing for a little bit of bait coming in as this Fire Giant spawns in, but this time it is going to be enhanced. So it is going to be their time to fight if they need to. But Blue does successfully take that Phoenix on the left side. No one backed in time. But with Blue not being able to back just yet, he's being chased out by the Thor, but with a jungle down, and he can just ult over. Here he goes in the sky, Waking Nightmares. The Fire Giant comes in. That has been called out. Blue finding the target into the backline, trying to find Freaky, but it's taking a lot of damage in return. But Bodega Hive, they're still not aware the Titan is going down. By the time the Fire Giant falls, a Titan comes in, but Scooby takes out Freaky. But here comes an ult from one of my outside. He's finding the damage, hits the Geb. But the Rock is not afraid of it just yet. An ult from my man doesn't find the mark. And Blue 1 HP still, living as much as possible from that fight with Dope Chops. But Gunshow, they have enhanced Fire Giant on 4 members. And they still want to take this fight as much as they can. Rogue Warrior throwing out some CC as much as possible. Can they get this Phoenix with the limited amount of help they have? There's only 3 members there. You don't have your jungle against 5 members as my man makes that rotation in, and Gunshow know they can't fight that just yet, so they're waiting out the time, trying to see if they can make a mistake. A stun comes out into Blue. Blue takes a lot of damage, doesn't find the dash connect, and is forced to disengage. But Dope Chops are going to push down the left lane, try and force some damage onto that Phoenix as well. And now we're seeing how the Gunshow Shoguns are under a little bit of duress as the Bodega Hive have a great anti-siege comp.
Yeah, and that's something that you really get. I mean, the Marty can poke you from far, so can the A+, and he has that wide. Ultimately, we've said several times. And then just the Geb and the safety he provides and the shield that he can give to his teammates as they step up to make those plays.
But you do see the Phoenix actually come out. The Phoenix is down once again. Charcoal comes in, finds a lot of damage, but Scooby is going to go into the air to immune a lot. The tidal wave comes out, finds 3. The Geb is in danger. Geb falls, but Jimmy takes out Wild My Ass. That's the ADC down for Shoguns. That's a big team fight coming in, but a great 2-man dunk comes in. Dope Chops, he secures the kill onto Scooby, forces Mamanta back as well. Ben 1 HP, but Dope Chops takes out Ben. There's only 2 members alive. It's just Blue and Jimmy. Jimmy, can you make it, my friend? My time, but the hammer doesn't make it. Agony finds some damage, but it's just padding his numbers right now as the Titan is going to save away some of the health bars of Gunshow, but they can't end just yet. Jimmy and Blue still very healthy, forcing Shoguns to disengage once again. The Shoguns can't end this game too. It's so hard to see. Just they have so much team fight presence, taking out 3, but just not having the HP once again. But my man's gonna try and take a little bit of damage onto Freaky, but Freaky's gonna shrug it off and be completely fine as he leaves that fight. Looks like we might see the beacon being picked up. Gonna be the 5th beacon of the match. So not like the Titans aren't gonna leash and go down any of the lanes, so there's still all to play for, but the Gunshow, they're just struggling to end right now. They're dominant but can't end. It's a shame to see.
Yeah, and that's one of those things that could really make a game drag on, is if you can get an early lead, but then you just can't siege at the end of the game. As we can see, the gold lead is at about 27,000 gold, which is a huge gold lead with everybody being level 20. So it really
17.
doesn't play much. Oh, 17k. Sorry, math is hard.
27k would be a little bit disastrous. We do see the Pyromancer get dropped by the Shoguns, so another Runic Bomb for their collection. That's 2 on the support, 1 on Thor. Thor's going in the air, looking to take out Blue. Doesn't find the mark just yet. The stun doesn't connect either. Blue is running for his life, uses Waking Nightmare to try and find a way out. Is going to teleport to Shrimp, the least person to take any damage from, but has a Geb shield waiting for him as well. So Blue's going to get out pretty safely, and the tower still lives on the right side. But that Phoenix has respawned for the Shoguns. There's one more thing people have to deal with, but we have 2 people running it down this left lane. My man is here just in case, but while my Asai and Chalk, they need to look at trying to get some free damage as the rest of the team starts making that rotation in. Agony is going to threaten this mid lane, try and get some poke over the wall. You'd love to see a little bit of damage here and there. Blue playing safe along the left side means that he's going to try and get some poke off with the crits. Big important thing to note here is that Chark is the one with Spectral. Shrimp does not have Spectral, so the Boatman is going to get a lot of damage from these crits coming in. But here comes the fight. Chark goes in with an ultimate, but misses it as goes in the wall. But this Phoenix is down. The dunk comes out, but doesn't find the target this time around, but it's trying to have to teleport away. Tidal Wave comes out, doesn't find the damage. Absolution proc means nothing when Blue is shredding you, but Rogue Boy takes out one. Ben Dizzle finds another with the poke damage, and Gunshow there on the run. Double kill for Blue. The Turner Box finally coming in clutch. It is Freaky on the run right now. Rogue Warrior being chased on the right side. Just 2 members left alive for the Shoguns. It's going to be difficult for them to make the rotation in. Waking Nightmare up once again. Going to try and chase down. Rogue goes in instead, but finds the death to the Geb. And it's just Freaky. That's a day aside for Bodega Hive, and they still have a lot to work through. Can they end? 40 seconds until Shrimp, Asai, and Dope Chops are back. They have the time, but do they have the damage? They have 2 ADCs and a Geb. The tower lines are going to go down. They still have the tier 2 in right, but the tier 2 in mid is going to go down for sure. But Geb doesn't have the HP. They want to take down this Phoenix in mid. The dash comes in. Can they get it in time? Blue is going to opt to tank it a little bit here and there. We see the health bar goes down, the minions are in, so they have no backdoor protections. It is the run of the lifetime. They know they can't end with those timers, so they have to sacrifice the left Phoenix as well. Gunshow Shogun staying alive a little bit longer, but they lose a lot for one more failed siege. It just happens all again. The Gunshow are reliving, they're having that deja vu, but at least they don't lose the game for it.
At least not yet. That was a very good play by Bodega Hive. Get him in. Ben comes in with a huge ult and gets 1 or 2 with that, and then the Cherno just chases down the other 2, and then gets the DSI. They're able to clear a majority of the map. Now we have this fire coming up. Looks like Guncho Shoguns are heading that way now and are already on it.
Yeah, Guncho, they know that this is an enhanced fire giant, so it's going to be auto play for right now. But the Bodega Hive also know that this timer is available, so they're making their rotation over. So they to understand that it's fight or lose the game right now. Marty is making their way in. Chark is going to try and dissuade that engagement once and all. Geb is here. My man is also here. Great Cataclysm forces Agni to leave. That is a kill on the jungle. Jimmy Rogue Warrior falling. The rest of the fight is breaking out. Asai comes in with a great stun, taking out one, but Jimmy gets a double kill onto Shrimp. Asai takes out Jimmy, takes out two, the double kill, takes out ADC, but Scooby takes out Asai. It's Dope Chops and Freaky, but Freaky's getting absolutely shredded by this team. 3 members are chasing him down. Freaky, he's not going to bait them away in time, so they're going to go for that tier 2 tower and go for the end. It is all down to Shoguns. It is a 2v3 situation. Do they have the damage? They likely do, but can they take the Titan? Can they take this win? It is all down to these next few minutes. We see the Hammer of Dawn come out. They don't know. Finds the backline on the Geb, but it's taking him down with the tank, taking a lot of damage. Scooby pops Aegis and beads. He's taking damage, but he's doing damage. Geb, he finds the kill to Dope Chops. It's just Freaky. He keeps the Geb alive. Geb keeping himself a little bit longer with the shell last minute, but they can't end. Is the curse of this game too. The Titans are running at that Order Titans. That's half HP. The Shoguns keep their Titan alive, and now it's Chark versus Ben the solo in mid this time around. Geb is here just in case. But Bodega Hive once again with an almost flawless team fight, but just can't end it this time around. Oh, it's going to be one of those games. This could be an hour-long match.
It very well could be, and that's speaking horrible for my 3 a.m. alarm. But if it goes game 3, we've got it. But it's really Bodega, just their siege defense has been so good, and then getting in and fighting over these objectives is really keeping them in this game right now.
This is going to be an important moment. That is the Titans' second unleashing. It's going to run down the mid lane. But as you know, the Titans keep their HP change after they've been unleashed. So this Titan will be full HP when it gets unleashed. But if the Shoguns are able to take this down quickly, they can run it down mid on that respawn. And that Titan's still going to be half HP. Left Phoenix respawned. That is one good news for Bodega Hive, but the right one is still down. They still have a way in. That base is open. And the Shoguns are going to go try to get this Pyromancer, take another Runic Bomb, just in case they want to go for that run. And the Titans are going to make their way down mid. And I think this is where we see the end of the game coming into play. The Horizon coming in. But Dope Chops going down the left lane, opting to not try and push for this mid fight. Gonna try and take some waves away to try and put some pressure on that left Phoenix, but that could spell doom for the Shoguns. Without a Hammer of Dawn coming over, it could be dangerous. The Oppo proc is kind of slamming Jimmy there. As the fight comes out, Blink comes in from Chark, finds Jimmy, the man taking a lot of damage, forced to use beads and the Geb shield to get away. Blue also forced to use beads to get away. As the Shoguns are going to shred this Titan down, it's going to be on them to win this fight. The Titan at 90% HP, they're going to be running it down mid. Thor is around in the jungle looking for an opportunity to get a perfect dunk. Blue defending that right lane just in case Scooby is going to take a bit of time to get away. Uses that invis field to try and make some space. Dope Chops lurking in the jungle. I think he's spotted up by water. They know not to be too close. My man looking for a way in. Chark is in, looking for a way in. The frenzy is popped, and ultimate finds the Scooby, trying to find their way in. Shrimp trying to get some damage and CC off as much as possible. Scooby in the air. Jimmy takes out the Boatman. The Boatman ferries his own soul to death, but in return, Jimmy is fallen. My man ferries her soul as well. Dope Chops takes a kill onto Dumbledore. That is a tank down Freaky. Also low HP. Ben Dizzle throwing out the work. And that is a kill onto White Mayasa with the ADC down. The Shoguns have no pressure. Rogue needs to back away as well, just in case Waking Nightmare pops. He's going to chase down the Chark instead, but the Chark is the person that you least want to chase right now. Blue takes a double kill onto Dope Chops as well. It's just Rogue versus 3. Rogue needs to get away, and this is looking like Bodega's Hive to win right now. The 3 members alive, it is all to play for, but don't underestimate the Agni, my friends. You need to shut him down because he will burn you all very quickly. You are 3 squishy backliners. Outside of maybe Ben Dizzle, he's a little bit tankier, he's got a lot of sustain, but this Agni is going to drop a lot of bombs on your head, is going to do a lot of damage. The Phoenix is going to do it down pretty quickly, so the Titan has a little bit lower HP, but Rogue, he's looking for that damage, finds a lot of it into Scooby, assassinates Scooby, goes in for the aggression onto Blue, but Blue is not afraid whatsoever. And with the assistance of Ben, they're going to take down this Titan, taking this to a 1-1 fight. Bodega coming out on top for game 2, meaning there's going to be a game 3, so fuck your alarm, my friend.
Yes, that is what happened today, but that's what we love this game. What a fight from Bodega. That their Phoenix defense was just, there was no way Shoguns was able to get past that, and it was one heck of a comeback from that Bodega squad.
Yes, but with that being a game 2, there is going to be a game 3. So now it's on the Bodega and the Gun Show to reconnect with their teams, think about what they want to do for this game 3, what they want to take away, what they want to bring into the match, to see who's going to close out this best of 3. So we will take a short break as that happens, and we'll be back with you shortly. Welcome back, everybody, to Frank's Retirement Home Season 2, the first set of the season. What a banger set to really start it off with. I'm slowly having a stroke, apparently. We are heading into Game 3 of this best of 3 of Bodega Hive versus Gun Show Shoguns. Shoguns take the Game 1, Bodega come in clutch with a Game 2 victory, so it's all down to this match. What do you think is going to happen in this Game 3?
Well, I know for sure one team is going to win and one team is not going to win. So it's going to be a 2-1 either way.
Here's Jeff.
Just don't know which team it's going to be right now. And I see the Danza and the Maman out. I don't see an all clutch band yet. They might want to get that one out of there.
Well, they might opt to go for an Arpois first pick. This is kind of something we see in a lot of the higher end of play, is the Arpois going first as a mage solo option. And with how Ben Dizzle played it, I'm not surprised in the slightest, but it does get banned out. They are going to opt for something else in that pick 1 slot. The interesting one I have is the Maman ban on the side of Bodega Hive, because the Maman didn't really do much in the grand scheme of things, but they don't want Dope to have it anyway. But with how they're posturing, I think Dope might return back to the Ratataska in the jungle, which wouldn't surprise me in the slightest, because that was the first pick game 1. So it looks like Bodega are going to take their time with this last ban. They have a few different options. They're going to opt to ban the Marticoras, which was a Scooby special in the previous game, and worked out really well for what the Bodega wanted. A lot of safe poke damage, played the life, and is really what Bodega needed to take that victory. But as I expected, Ratataska are going to be hovered by Dope Chops and then immediately locked in straight after. Kind of a repeat of game 1, but Blue is going to take that Chernobog back home. So we're seeing a mixture of game 1 and game 2 in this game 3, with the culmination on both fronts.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how the rest of this draft goes. But just seeing Dope back on the Ratatosker, he did really well on it game 1 and helped his team win that game. But now we see the Raijin come back out, and that's another one. Is it going to go mid or is it going to go solo?
This has been one that I've seen Scooby play in mid a few times, so this is likely going to be a mid pick for Raijin, which kind of makes a lot of sense, just how much damage and cooldown Raijin has as part of his kits. You can do a lot with it, and with how Scooby was playing and no longer having option to the Marty, it ups the same, but has taken away a lot of the aggressive nature of what Rogue does. Because Rogue has played very aggressive on both the Raijin and the Agni in game 1 and game 2. So they're making sure that's not going to happen this time around. But they're going to lock in a slightly different ADC and support this time. They're not opting for the Danza Karen combo. They're going to go for a Cernos and Maui. Shrimp opting for a different support mainly because Karen's still available. But taking away the Islander this time around.
Yeah, and that's we haven't really seen Maui much in the competitive scene because of his nerfs a few patches ago, and he kind of died down a little bit. But it'll be interesting to see what Shrimp can do with this Maui, especially with Athena, Ares, and the like still up.
Oh, it didn't even clock me that Athena was still available. If Bodega noticed that, could be a free support pick for them. Because Athena is the most dominant support right now. Just a lot of free CC that is pretty much untargetable. But they're not going to go for it. They're going to opt for a Bastet in their jungle for their top 3 position going into the second round of ban. So Athena still available is a bit of a question mark. Hopefully the Guncho Shoguns realize this and decide to ban it out going into the second round. But Baba Yaga going to take the first ban on this return, making sure the mid laner has no other safe options like the home sweet home. See what else is banned out. There's the Athena ban. Thank God the Shoguns have realized that one, taking it away and making sure they have to pick a different support going into it. We might see Darth on the Geb again though.
Yeah, Darth Dumbledore is a Geb enjoyer. He's one of those gods that you can go and you're gonna have fun, but the other team is not. That's what Geb can do for you. But really smart on the Athena ban from the side of the Shoguns, I believe. That way, it can't fall into the hands of Darth Dumbledore.
And that is the Bodega taking away the agony from Rogue Warrior. Rogue Warrior was doing a sweet ton of damage on those bombs, so that is a fair takeaway in position, but does leave a few other options for Rogue. What he goes for in the end, well, we'll see very shortly, but they still have their final battle. They're going to opt for that Morgan Le Fay, taking it away from the solo position at this time around. So they're going to lock in the Wukong. The Monkey makes his way into the final stages, and that's going to be the solo. Ben Dizzle returning to Monkey, if you will. Previous season, pretty much staple for the Bodega last season. So they're going to run that back in this season, this time around. But now it's on to Freaky and Rogue to pick what they want.
Yeah, it'll be... There are quite a few options. Really no solo lane bans outside of the magical ADCs. But it looks like we're going to see a Thor solo with a Kukulkan in the mid.
A Kukulkan is definitely an interesting pickup. Isn't the safest character, but does a lot of damage. So this could be where the Bastet is going to get a lot of free farm. That's depending on how Jimmy plays this. And they're opting for a Fenrir. Never mind, they're going to go back to the Geb. I think this is going to be their support pickup. A Geb or Fenrir does go pretty well into this team of the Shoguns. Taking away the Cook away from his safety of his team. Can't be dragging. They're just going to take him into a free death. But if he goes for this Geb, he's got a lot more safety for his Bastet. Jimmy is going to be a lot more impactful on this pick compared to the Maman Brigitte. Especially now with the Geb to help you get out. So Jimmy's going to be a little bit more active this match. We have Raijin, who's going to be doing a lot of aggression damage coming out from Scooby. So I'm excited to see how the Bodega draft comes out. And they might do a cheeky little reverse sweep against the Shoguns.
Very possible. I mean, both teams have really solid drafts and fairly strong picks. It'll really be interesting to see how well the Thor and the Sun plays into the Sun Wukong. But I think Ben and Freaky will be a really good matchup to watch over there in the solo lane. And then, but just seeing dope on this Ratatosker again. We saw what he did in game 1. Got him a win. And now we're going into game number 3 with him on it again. I think he might play just as well as he did back in game 1 and even game 2.
But we do see a big change up from the Shoguns, and that is they're not allowing Asai to play the Danzaburo this time around. It was banned out. So we're seeing him on a different ADC for the first time in 3 games. So seeing how he pilots this Sunnos is going to be a bit of a question mark, especially with how Blue played previously, which was pretty much sacked off the entire laning phase and did much better during the late game team fight stages. He might have a lot more pressure over Asai this time around. So Asai might be playing from behind. The Sunnos isn't notoriously a great 1v1er. He does hold his own, don't get me wrong, but if he ever gets ganked by Jimmy, that's going to be very dangerous because you're not going to have a lot of self-peel. You don't have a rocket to get into. You don't have an ultimate to get away whatsoever. You only have the polymorph to try and save yourself a bit of time. So Asai could be in a bit of danger going into this matchup, but he does have this Maui to be aggressive and has a lot of CC available to him to confirm autos, confirm damage, and confirm polymorphs. So right now, the Shoguns have a very CC-heavy team comp for Rogue to come in, get confirmed dragons, confirmed tornadoes, And that's going to be a big thing during those teamfight stages. But Bodega Hive, I think, overall have a better draft going into it. Just a lot of confirmable teamfight ultimates. Whether Jimmy's going to get a good yoink off with his ultimate, or whether Cataclysm comes out and finds 2 or 3 people and just getting damage and kills off that. That's going to be Bodega's Bodega's kind of gameplay going into this fight.
That very well likely will be how they play these team fights. And then looking at the side of Gun Show, you've got that double dive comp of Rat and Thor. If the other team doesn't see you coming, you get 2 semi-global ultimate dunks down. Not very many gods are going to survive that.
Unless you have a Bees Aegis, which is what we're going to see a lot on the backliners. I'm pretty certain both Scooby and Blue are going to opt for those options. But especially with a Maui as well. If you are in a position to get yoinked by a Maui ult, then you need that Bees to stay alive as much as possible. So if you're not going Bees there, you're going to struggle. But we do see Scooby and Blue opt for those beads as their first relic, which makes a lot of sense. But Jimmy is going to go for that blink once again. As we see everything come out, we do see Maui opt for the war flag this time around. I'm not entirely sure the war flag's value going into this fight. You don't have the double ADC like they did on the Bodega Hive game 2. So I would have preferred to see something like a heroism come out, or even a compassion later on in the game, just to try and spread some of that damage to yourself. But the ADCs, Blue is going to go for the Dev's Gauntlet this time around. And Asai is going to go for his namesake once again, the Asai.
Yeah, he's been pretty standardly building that in all 3 games of this set, going the Death Toll Aussie start. And as we see Freaky get poked out fairly well by the Wukong here.
That's that Warrior's Axe going damage hard.
Yes.
We do see a little bit of a pressure advantage coming out from the Shoguns on the side of Duo, which is not to be, kind of worried over too much. Certain on Maui is going to do more than a... Not sure about that shield, Geb. That was a very early shield as the Chernobog gets pulled back in. As the mid and jungle look for those left mids, we might see a rotation over. This is where we did see an early kill coming out, but Ben Dizzle with a cheeky Tiger Stun takes the first blood onto Freaky. And this is where the Thor solo is going to struggle. It's that early game just not being able to do too much. So Ben taking up that first blood makes a nice change for Bodega Hive as they start taking the lead.
Yeah, and even earlier kill in this game than there was in games 1 or 2, with game number 2's first blood coming about 2.5 minutes in, this one about minute 15 seconds.
Yes, game 1 it was the 8-minute, game 2 it was like a sub 1 minute. But Bodega Hive definitely going to be pretty happy with that one. We see we see Jimmy already taking a lot of damage onto the Kukulkan, and that's going to be the same thing as a lot of guys. Freaky, what are you doing? Stop fighting. You need to stop taking damage against this Wukong. This Wukong has a magic cudgel that will slap you silly. And he's seeing the effect of it pretty handily, already having 1 death under his belt. Doesn't have many damage options available to him outside of his hammer, which is your only escape. So if Ben opts to go for some damage, Ben could get another kill. But Freaky is playing a little bit safe, just opting for the confirmed stun into the double tap, just trying to get some free poke onto Ben, but Ben's going to shrug it off pretty freely.
Yeah, and...
We
missed a...
Looks like the solo wasn't the only solo option there, as Jimmy and Ben opt to get a kill onto Dope Chops and going to go for an invade on that blue buff. Freaky going to be missing out even more as the cat drags in a death for the side of Dope Chops.
Yeah, and really good on Jimmy and Ben to go after that blue buff after they got the kill onto Dope Chops.
Jimmy playing very aggressive, tries to get the red buff, but gets it stolen away with some perfect nuts. Dragon does not find the mark, but Jimmy doesn't have any mana, so he's going to blink away. A blink follows from the rat, but no damage comes in. A great mess from Scooby keeps the cat alive, and the rat's going to have to find a new target to play with. Unfortunately, Rogue wasting the ult there, tried to get some confirmed CC off, but doesn't find the mark, so That is a kill dropped for the side of Shoguns, but Bodega Hive, they still have a bit of advantage going into this. The Geb has reached level 5, as has Blue on this Chernobog, but they have the advantage in dual lane, so now the Shoguns need to play a little bit safe as they start losing the advantage they've had over the previous 2 games. And this is where we see how the Shoguns play from behind, because if they can do that, they're going to have a bit of an issue dealing with the rest of the Hive's comp.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like they picked up the purple buff after they secured it. It's just laying back there where they got it
That's
out.
a Marriott as well. I don't know what I was looking for, but that was a Marriott there.
Is a misclick. Gotta be a misclick.
I thought they tried to get aggressive, yeah. Polymorph wasn't used, but we see a rotation coming out from Ratatoska trying to find their way in. He finds his way in Cataclysm, perfectly drops that order. Polymorph comes out, finds the Geb once again, but there's a lot of CC being used onto the tank. As we see the Chernobog coming in, trying to find the Ratataska. The 2 pops over the wall, finds the damage, but it's not enough. Blue is going to try and find some more. The dash comes out, but here comes the cat. Jimmy's on the warpoint, finds the dash. Can the rat stay alive? Maui's trying to keep him alive as before. Jimmy takes the kill into Dope Chops. Finds another ultimate onto my Asai, and Asai is forced to use his beast to get away. Tycho Drums is here as well. Maui's in danger. Shrimp is taking a lot of damage, but that's a 3. That was gonna be a 4-man dragon. Finds a lot of damage regardless as Geb walking the tower. Unfortunately, Rogue Warrior not finding enough damage to kill anyone just yet, but that's a great rotation to stop them from diving the tower with the HP they had. Bodega Hive not taking off more than they can chew. But unfortunately, Rogue just not getting a kill. That's a little bit unfortunate. He's going to go back to lane, a little bit defeated, and try and take as much farm as possible to stay ahead of Scooby as much as possible.
Yeah, that was shaping up to be a really good team fight, and that would have been a heck of an ultimate from Rogue if he would have hit all 4, but he still got 3, so that's a really good ultimate either way.
Yeah, still hit 3, got an Aegis off 1, and dash wall into another from Blue. So, you know, not all is lost. It's still pretty good to be able to see that one happening. You know, it may not have happened, but it was still good to see regardless, because it means he's got potential for that late game. Freaky, though, is playing with fire, trying to fight Ben Dizzle on his tower line, not realizing the damage that Ben has with this Soul Eater available. Mari ult is popped, a little bit too late once again, doesn't find anything, but it's going to be on the logo of that mid lane. So not much going to happen over there, as Dope Chop's going to make a return over to the right lane. Jimmy is on target, though, looking for a way in, and this cat is doing a lot more than the man in the previous game. As we see the claws come out in rotation, Maui jumps in, so he's going to be in danger, taking a lot of damage. The ult comes in, and this should be a free death. That is a great ultimate from Rogue, but it doesn't mean nothing against a tank. The 2-man knockup from the rat. Just going to try and find the cat. Great spits from the Coco Can, takes out the cat, but Rat is trying to get some damage off into Scooby, but Scooby's not afraid of taking that by himself, but dies the tornado. That's a double kill for Rogue. The Geb had no shield to save him there. The dragon is making the return to getting a double kill, but Dope Chops is 0-3 and is going to start falling behind the cat surely if they don't start playing a little bit safer. Meanwhile, Asai has a lot of pressure onto Blue in this dual lane, forcing just forcing a lot of damage off his... What's going on here? Thor gets a kill into Ben. That's a cheeky solo kill. Freaky is feeding himself into that one.
I didn't even see where Freaky ulted from.
I don't even know. I assumed Ben thought he had a lot more survivability. He has the Soul Eater available and has a lot of sustain, but Freaky just did enough damage to kill Ben there. Ben didn't get to use Somersault Cloud. So I'm sure Freaky is feeling good about that one entirely. Managed to back, gets his Runeforge online. It's going to start building that breastplate. Everyone's favorite dreaded item as both solos are going to build it. But here comes the Wukong looking to try and find some damage onto the Ratataska, but Tiger stuns the box minion. So Dope Chop's going to get some free stun. That's another CC chain going onto Ben. Ben's going to have to get away as quickly as possible, but Rogue is lurking in this left jungle, trying to find a way onto Jimmy. We might see a dragon. The dragon comes out, but it's way off the mark. Tries to go for a little bit of a blind snipe, but doesn't find Jimmy. Just going to try and take a rotational call onto Blue. Spits it in, but it's inside the wall, so Rogue's going to lose a bit of farm to Scooby in this mid lane as the Geb makes the rotation in. I like how active Rogue is, though.
Yeah, he's rotating around the map using his 2 very well. And Rat comes in, ults.
I think he was gonna go in for that ultimate, but thought it's better not to. So Freaky's now gonna be the one in danger against 2 clones of the Ben Dizzle. Tiger Stun misses a good sidestep and a good teleport away. Freaky's not having any of that fight, but then goes in and takes even more. Freaky, what are you doing, my friend? You're playing with fire here. Please have a teleport up shortly. Never mind. Bastet is here though, so don't stay up too far because you will get found out by the Kitty Claws. And he's staying up, so Jimmy's gonna come around the corner. Here comes the gank off, doesn't find the connection on the 3, but Freaky's in the air, it's just not enough time, so Jimmy gets the kill with the big cat. And that's a free gank for the Bodega Hive. Bodega Hive really exacerbating their lead right now. They are 500 gold ahead, so once again, Shoguns, they are still farming as well. It's not like they're down and out, just like the previous games. But it's still all to play for. But Dope Chops needs to be getting a little bit more active. It's 2 levels behind Jimmy on this Bastet, but in return, Rogue Warrior does have a level on Scooby. So where it matters, definitely going to be important.
And there's also a level lead in both support and ADC for the side of the Good Show.
And also a level deficit for solo, yeah.
Yes. So you're starting to see that some of that go back and forth, some of the farming go back and forth. Rogue's just been everywhere, all over the map, trying to impact as much as he can.
Yeah, and right now we do see Ben have a more dominant lane in the this Wukong is always going to be a bit of a lane bully going to Freaky, so Freaky getting that solo kill just keeps him in the game a little bit more. But Ben come this, mid to late game is going to be much more impactful unless Thor stays in. See an aggression coming out from my outside, finds the perfect wall, but he's in danger. It's 2 versus 1 right now. Can you find the damage? That's an ultimate coming out from both Jimmy and Blue, but he's staying alive a little bit longer, but unfortunately he doesn't get the kill onto Blue. Blue surviving by the skin of his teeth thanks to Jimmy. And Jimmy finding a 4th kill on the board. And like I said before, this pick on the Bastet is just much more impactful than the man, and we're seeing the Bodega Hive profits off it across the board.
Yeah, and Jimmy's just able to rotate and get that ultimate off and just put another kill on the board for the side of Bodega.
It's more and more pressure, more and more farm up where it's needed, and that's what it comes down to. But Freaky is playing with fire once again as the cat comes in. He knows he's in danger, tries to get teleport out, and Jimmy finds another kill once again, and that is a blue buff invade as well. So perfect timing for that rotation. Jimmy and Ben have this man's blue timer on lock. So maybe we should see the Shoguns be a bit more proactive around that blue buff. If Dope Chops or the Shrimp on this Maui starts making the rotation over, they could catch a cat out. And that could be a big turning point, taking away a bounty kill. But Bastet is just being kind of allowed to run rampant around these jungles. You see them looking in. As the beacon is spawning, there is going to be a fight going to be breaking out. Raijin does have taiko drums available and could opt for some good damage, but with both mids here, you're going to see some poker come out. Maui finds the Geb. The Geb's going to be the one in danger. It's 3 versus 1, but Calico's and finds all 3. Taiko drums is out. Going to try and get some free damage off Rats in the air, trying to find a way in. Dragon doesn't find anyone. And Maui's going to try and take some damage. Rat lands and tries to find Jimmy, but Jimmy survives on 1 HP. Or chasing the Scooby instead, but takes out Jimmy on the back foot. Dope Chops gets the first kill. Rogue Warrior gets a tornado kill into Scooby as well. That's 2 members down for the Bodega Hive, and that's what the Gun Show needed to get back into the game for these fights. Freaky's just coping on my side, but Dope Chops comes in and gets Blue as well. Where did Blue come in? Waking Nightmare in just to die, and that's going to be a Gold Fury call for the side of the Shoguns. Cernos doesn't have a lot of health, which is very important. Dope Chop's also very low himself, trying to take out this red buff. Will he get soloed by the PvE? We won't know, but he's going to back in time. Unfortunately, that is a Gold Fury call, and that should be a nice little gold boost for the Shoguns. It's exactly what they needed.
Yeah, and that's really getting them back into the game there, being able to get that objective. And this game might have just kind of flipped back in the favor of Shoguns quite a bit.
It was a really unfortunate for the Bodega Hive just to kind of split their damage on the people of the Gun Show Shoguns, and the Shoguns really capitalized on it, spreading the damage themselves. But Bodega Hive aren't out of it just yet. They're going for a Pyromancer. The Dragon finds the mark onto the Geb, but he's going to be caught out by 4 people. Aegis is popped, but here comes the Ratatasker trying to find their way in. Get some peel, but he's going to sacrifice himself. Maui comes in with a stun. Rogue Warrior fighting for his life right now, trying to play as much as he can. The slam down from Ben finds a double kill. Maui ult doesn't find the mark, and that's going to be a third kill for Ben. Maybe Jimmy takes it away, and that's Asai down, but Maui can't find the mark. Going to try and keep everyone alive. Thor in the air, doesn't find anyone. They're going to try and take Ben out instead. The bull form comes out, negates all that CC. Jimmy's going to safely back in the speed buff, and Blue's going to start taking down that tower in left lane. It's a win across the board for Bodega in return from one team fight loss. Bodega back in the lead once again with a 2k lead as Blue keeps pushing up that left lane. It's another back and forth match, I already feel it, but right now neither team really has an anti-siege. So that's going to be important during the late game team fights.
Yeah, and like you said, less than 2 minutes ago, it was Good Show looking like they were going to start taking off with it, and then Bodega comes back and says, not so fast.
Yes, and that's going to be what's going to come down to is Rogue Warrior being able to connect that damage, but he puts himself out of position and the rest of the team falls behind him. We see a nice rotation coming out from Maui in a little 2v2 situation, but Basta has the advantage, lots of damage, finds the connection of the big cat onto Freaky G, so Freaky G finds a teleport away just in case. The damage is it's noticeable from the Bodega Hive. Bastet doing a lot, but the blink comes in. What taking that damage? The jump comes in, finds the kill to Freaky, but they're still taking damage. Maui ult comes in, doesn't find the mark. Blue is here as well, just in case with Waking Nightmare, trying to find a way in 5-member strong. Scooby Daddy Doo comes in, finds a double kill with Tycho drums, and they're going to push this tower instead, and this could be maybe a Fire Giant call, possibly. These health bars are still pretty strong. And Shoguns, they're going to go for this Fire Giant call. Shoguns are going to go push up that left lane instead. But Bodega Hive, they're going to pretty freely take this, but maybe lose a tier 2 tower in return. What a great team fight and macro call from Bodegas. They can start pushing up even more. They might push down this mid lane once they get that Fire Giant if the health permits it. But there goes the damage. That's a 50 or 16 minute Fire Giant call, the earliest we've seen it so far.
Yeah, and that was just off of a really good fight. Started in solo lane and turned into a triple, well not a triple kill, but 3 men down on the side of Shoguns, and Bodega was able to take that for free.
And we're seeing Blue take a big level advantage over Wamase. Well, I just ticked over to 14, but there was a 2-level lead on Blue, which is very important how these rotations are happening. He's being more proactive. Blue fights mid-stage. Previously in game 2 when he piloted this Chernobyl, he wasn't doing that. But now he's in all of these team fights where the Bodega Hive are winning and being a key catalyst into how these fights are turning out and getting the farm for it in return as well. And Jimmy, like I've said before, he's doing so much more in these fights. The CC and the damage output is just there compared to what it was before. And right now, Shrimp and Freaky G just don't have the answer for him. We saw that in the starting point of this team fight. While my ass in a little bit of danger, but gonna bait out Blue. Blue is against 3 people now. The dash was caught, and that is a hook and pull into a dragon. There was nothing Blue could do there, except look at his own death in the face. Bodega Hive taking that fight pretty seriously, but giving up the beacon on the side of Shoguns. This means Bodega Hive still have a slight advantage. It's 4v5 as Rat comes in, but is going to sacrifice his life almost immediately. Raiju damage is nuts. No pun intended, but Shrimp Warrior going to go around the side, try and get some Maui ult action, but not going to find anyone important. So the Gunja Shoguns are going to have to disengage and maybe give up the Gold Fury, depending on how they want to play. Rogue does not have the ultimates available to him, so no more secure options. But Bodega, they're not going to go for the Gold Fury, but they are going to lock that Pyromancer instead.
Yeah, and this is just, they're just letting one fight lead into another and playing the map really well right now. Bodega's looking pretty tough to stop right now.
Bodega's playing a very different game than game 1 and 2, and it's showing in, but look who's here. Ben Dizzle is going to be taking a little bit of aggro as the Gunshow want to take out this Gold Fury, as the rest of the team is making that rotation in. The Shoguns are going to have to disengage ever so slightly. The Dragon comes out, but it's not secure. Bodega Hive take that Primal Fury. Tiger Drum is used, trying to keep the Maui in. Raiju damage is procced. taking a lot of damage. The Mez comes out. Maui's going to be sacrificed to the Wolves. Guncho trying to find a way in. The Polymorph finds no one. Maui's going to hang in the air as Blue makes a rotation in. Rat is here. Yggdrasil trying to find a way in. Finds a 3-man knockup in the Tornado. That's taking a lot of damage. But the Shoguns, they still don't have the HP available to them. Ben does it in the background. Scooby takes a kill with a Mez teleport in. Ben is trying to find some extra damage. Dope Chops uses the Aegis, but it's going to die to that take damage. Scooby takes up a double kill. And it's only 2 members left alive in this mid-fight. As Jimmy is pushing down that right lane, the Guncho are losing on all fronts right now. Bodega Hive, Scooby's going to take a little bit of tower shot. Ben comes in, Tiger Stun, trying to find the beads onto the Coco Can. Rogue does get away. And Bodega, they're just playing very aggressive right now. They're looking for Thor. Cat is in the bag, but doesn't find enough damage onto this pretty tanky Freaky G. But never mind, Freaky wants to keep fighting. The teleport doesn't find the mock. Maui finds a great ultimate to pull the Cat back in, but there's just no follow-up CC without Asai there, so that fight is over. Bodega Hive gonna take that tier 2 tower in mid and get away with murder once again.
Yeah, and a great split push up the solo side by Jungle Jimmy on the Bastet. Really, just the team fight from Bodega is just head and shoulders better than what Guncho has right now.
Yeah, and that's kind of evident in how these fights are going. It just seems like Guncho are so split in their decision making. It's almost like they've not taken into account what happened in the previous 2 games, and they're playing a completely different game. And they're being punished for it. One thing I want to point out is this Thor solo isn't providing as much use as we thought it would, and that's partly because he's almost gone full damage, full tank even. When you're playing Thor solo, you want to kind of opt into a bit of a more bruiser standard build to have a lot more damage. The Rune Forge is nice, but unless you have confirmed CC going into it, it's not going to do as much for you. When we saw the Thor being piloted in jungle by Dope Chops the previous game, the CC was much more impactful and the damage was there to kind of confirm. So while you have the Coco Can, Freaky and Kook aren't working together to get that confirmed damage off. We do see Blue pushing up that left lane, and we see a lot of a fight break out as well. Dope Chops in the air, taking that take damage from Raichu, who's going to quickly escape. And the Guncho Shoguns are going to have to disengage pretty quickly as Blue makes that rotation in. The Dragon Pop to try and zone, but it's nowhere near enough. Dope Chops is still very low in that backline, but Wamasa gets assassinated by Jimmy. Maui ult finds 3, but he's going to sacrifice himself. Tycho Jumps comes out, Jimmy blinks in. They're going to try and take as much damage as possible, trying to find their way in. Maui's in that backline, but he's going to die for the cause. Rattaska comes in with a blink, finds that stun, but there's a lot of people there. Maui, we see a Thor dunk come in, finds the 3, but he's going to sacrifice himself as well. They're throwing themselves like a conveyor belt to the Bodega Hive, and they're playing dangerously. Dope Chops and Rogue Warrior, the only ones left alive, and Bodega Hive going to take their victory prize in that Fire Giant. And this could spell doom for the Shoguns if they don't start acting correctly, as Ben Dizzle going to zone both of those 2 key characters away. But Bodega Hive, they're in a really good position. It's their game to lose right now.
Yeah, they continue to play the map really well in the way they want to play it. They only have 1 tower left on the map to take down. They're going for the Pyromancer now. They may work their way over to that T2 in duo after Max, and then go fall back to that Oni Fury coming up here shortly.
I think we're seeing them go over to Oni Fury anyway pretty quickly, and then push out the tier 2 on the left side, because that left side is going to be the most important for them, but without the ADC there, they can't push too much. And we see Blue coming up that left lane. They're just going to opt for that Oni Fury anyway, but Dope Chops is around, taking the treasure chest, but I don't think he's going to try and contest this 1v4 situation, learn from his mistakes. As the Bodega, they're going to go disengage. We see Benders will go up that left lane, try and get some poke off onto the Rattaska, but the rest of the team, they're going to just go get that the beacon and have those Titans start pushing up the lanes. And we see them push up that left lane as both the towers are still available.
Yeah, and this will probably be the fight before the final fight, as we have Oni minions pushing in.
Ben's getting a little bit active. Yeah, Ben's getting a little bit active and is being attacked by a rat. The ankle biter forced to use Somersault Cloud in the backline pretty early on in the fight, while Bodega Hive has no one else there to really chase it down. But with the Oni minions pushing each lane, we see Blue coming up that right. Ratataska going to try and find a kill onto the Ratataska with a perfect sniper of the ultimate. And Jimmy takes that rat down from the tree he was trying to climb. And that is one person down for the Shogun, so this means that Bodega Hive have the numbers advantage, but look how split the map is right now. You got 2 in one lane, 1 in each of the others, and then Ben just somewhere in the fields trying to find his way over. Probably going to find a way to teleport in if they get a ward down in time. Titan's pushing up the left lane. We have Scooby and Darth going to try and take out this Titan very early on, allowing the Chaos Titan to just run freely. But they're going to go for the Titan as well. They're dealing with a Titan and a tower, so they're going to play a little bit careful, but the Raichu damage is going to start chunking as the rest of the fight comes in. Thor is there to dissuade the fight. There's also a fight coming into the mid lane. That's 2 bombs procced, and that is a Phoenix down almost immediately. The Bodega Hive, they're playing aggressive right now. Rats in the air, trying to find a way in. Serenos 1 HP. Bendizzle finds the slam down from Somersault, takes that kill, and comes back and helps the team. Blue getting that kill. The Dogs 2-man knock-up, or 2-man stun from that ultimate. Maui is struggling to find a way to peel for his team. Bodega Hive still have that aggression. Mario pulls Blue back in, but Bendizzle going to take out Freaky. It's Maui and Rogue against the world, but Shrimp falls down pretty quickly. Meanwhile, the team is just running in this Titan room. It's Cook versus 3. There's a Ryzen on the left doing nothing. He's not here to help with the fight. Bodega Hive, they're just trying to pressure and keep Rogue away. But now they're in the Titan room. They're doing the damage as much as they can. The cat minion is going to tank as much as possible. Jimmy comes in for a little bit of bait and switch. Asai is here to help back. That is an ultimate, but Blue is in the wall to avoid it, but it's taking tornado damage. They're going to wait for this minion wave to come in. Darth and Jimmy are letting this Titan push in on the left side, and now they're in danger. Dope Chops is back up again. They need to play safe, but the Titan's going to start slamming each wall. Fire minions on the right side. Bodega Hive. Scooby takes up the first kill with Taiko drums. Jimmy going to look for another one, but the Titan is falling. It's low. And just like the ocean, that tower, that Titan is gone in the favor of Bodega Hive, and they take the game 2 with a fairly dominant showing in this game 3. So that is that match. Bodega Hive coming out on top with what seemed to be a completely different game coming in from previous 2 matches. So bit of an interesting shake-up, but all it needed was Jimmy to go 11-2, apparently.
Yeah, and that kind of puts it in everybody else's head that's watched this tonight that if you play against Jungle Jimmy, you might not want to let him have the step. But you also see what Ben Dizzle did on the Sun Wukong, which is not to be overshadowed. 5-1 and 15. Can't let Ben have that Sun Wukong either.
I mean, this was a known fact from the previous season of Ben being good at the Wukong, but this was a pickup they opted to go for in the latter round of the Picks of Bands, which worked out pretty well for them. But not to mention the fact that the team was very cohesive in how they played. They were taking fights they knew they could take and punishing a lot of misplays from the side of the Shoguns. The Shoguns were just struggling to go in. I mean, Freaky has only a kill participation of 1. 1 kill, 0 assists, but 6 deaths. So this Thor pick really wasn't what the Gun Show needed going into the rest of this fight compared to the Wukong on the other side. So that's something that the Gun Show can take in the lab and go, okay, what do we need to work on in the future matches? And go, okay, maybe we shelve that one for the time being and look at something else. But that being said, this has been a 3-game set, so I'm sure both us on the cast and the teams playing are a little bit tired. So we will end it there, but congratulations to the Bodega Hive for winning set 1 of the season. You are moving on pretty handily with your team comp going into next week's matches. But that's all from us on the cast. Thank you all for joining us if you've stayed with us the entire time. And we'll see you next time we are hosting one of these matches. Please be sure to tune in.